tonight. We are in the eye of the storm, and the Theodore Bobcats know this. They're riding a 4-game winning streak and have their highest state ranking since 2015. But waiting for them is the Bryant Hurricanes, seeking their first win of the season and ready to turn into a Cat 5 disaster upon the Bobcats. Can Theodore survive what Bryant has in store, or will the Bobcats downgrade the Hurricanes to a mere tropical disturbance? We're about to find out next with the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Al Whedon along with Corey LeBounty. Down on the sidelines we have Kimberly Dunn. And Corey, it is the battle for South Mobile County.
Yeah, you're excited. Another Friday night of football here along the Gulf Coast. But it's going to be interesting to see how this game plays out on the field, Al, because it's going to be very important. 7A Region 1 standings always in play here, as next week teams will jump into non-region play. But tonight, here in the eye of the storm, it'll be interesting to see whether we have tropical disturbances or Category 5, like you said in your intro, winds and hitting tonight on the football field.
Yeah, you're right about that. We're expecting a lot of hard-hitting action tonight. Theodore possesses one of the state's stingiest defenses, and we'll get into that just around the corner. Right now, let's take it down to the field, check in with Kimberly Dunn and see what's happening down at the field level.
Thankfully, there are no hurricanes here tonight. We are expecting clear skies and a beautiful night for football. And we're actually starting close to 10 degrees cooler this week than we did last week. So the players are going to be able to really enjoy that, as well as us and you guys up there in the press box too.
Thank you, Kimberly. I'm loving the breeze we have tonight, Corey. I haven't felt anything like that since maybe last October.
Without question, Al. The Future One's forecast tells us that it's going to be nice and cool tonight. I think we'll probably still see our heat timeouts going through week number 5 of high school football. But with that being said, it's been tremendously hot here and excessively hot toward the middle of September. You're looking at heat indexes when these guys go to practice at some 106 degrees.
Right.
So staying hydrated is going to be very important. We'll see if teams decide to do that throughout the week and see if it's going to be a problem with cramps at all tonight.
All right, let's get over to your checklist for both of these teams tonight. What's on Corey's checklist, man?
Well, you're looking at Bryant. They must control the clock. And what do I mean by that? Down and distance-wise, they don't want to put their defense right back on the field 3 downs later after punting the football. They have to minimize mental miscues. Coach Hayne was very pleased this year at the progression of his team not being flagged as much as they were a year ago. And this season in particular, so far so good there. They have to create a line of scrimmage storm. What do I mean by that? What category of storm will it be at the line of scrimmage, Al? That's going to be an interesting matchup that we have to keep our eyes on tonight. You look at Theodore on the other side of that. They must and always have to establish the run. Eric Collier, he loves to run to set up that play action pass, so they have to be able to do that tonight. Theodore takeaways. Coach Collier also loves it when the Theodore Bobcats defense is able to create turnovers. First-year defensive coordinator Ryan Little will try to do that tonight, led by some dynamic football players that we'll talk about later on in the broadcast. And they must maintain success and momentum. They are the defending 7A Region 1 champions. They are 4-0. Coach wants them to go ahead and maintain and sustain where they are right now as a football team.
All right, there's a checklist for tonight. We'll check back with you later on those and see how the teams are doing or if they're performing up to what you have in store. Speaking of what's in store, your starting lineups for tonight, we'll take a look at those. Bryant is the home team, so we'll get their offense up first, led by quarterback Tanner Ewing. He's young, just a sophomore. He has a 32% completion percentage with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions, but this offense really more so is run-oriented, going through senior running back Ced Johnson, who averages 4.3 yards a carry, has 2 touchdowns on the season. Making holes for him is a young offensive line with only 2 returning starters, Aaron Gillian and Sean Sweeney. That offensive line averages 247 across the front for Bryant. Now on Theodore's defensive side, coming off their second shutout in a row, only allowing 9.8 points a contest. They're led by outside linebacker and Alabama commit DeMoy Kennedy. He's got 39 tackles, 2 interceptions, and the rest of his linebacking core account for more than half of the Bobcats' season tackles. They have 4 returning starters and 8 seniors. Very well experienced defensive line. They play a 3-4, averaging 215 pounds across that defensive front. Let's take a look at the Theodore offense. Senior quarterback Gavin Moore, he's at the helm, a 60% passer, 3 touchdowns and 3 interceptions so far. But the workhorse for the Bobcats, sophomore flanker Kirsten Rogers, he's piled up nearly 600 yards on the ground, rushed for 5 touchdowns, has 5.9 yards a carry this season. The blocking up front for him, 3 returning starters, and they average 256 across the front. When they do decide to air it out, listen out for the name DeChristian Porter, who averages 17 yards a reception. For the Bryant defense, keep your eyes out on senior defensive end Franklin New, who leads the team in tackles. Also, pay attention to number 14, Tyler Womack, and free safety Landon Weston, both big contributors on the Hurricanes defense. They play a 4-3, Corey, average 250 across that defensive front. So we're going to see I believe we're going to see a lot of running tonight, maybe a little passing. You just talked about it, Coach Eric Collier. He likes to run the ball to get the run to set up the pass.
Yeah, that's going to be very important. You mentioned Kirsten Rogers, the 5'9", 180-pound sophomore. 96 rushes so far for this young man.
Okay.
5 touchdowns, and I think it's going to be very important. He was the Week 0 Crichton Optimist Club Player of the Week, and you can see why. This young man, again, has rushed almost 100 times throughout 4 weeks of high school football. So if he's able to get past the line of scrimmage, you'll definitely be able to see the type of speed and the elusiveness that former Bobcats have exuded as well.
All right, Theodore has won the coin toss. They've deferred to the second half. We're going to be back with your kickoff. Don't move. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
Hello, I'm Renee Phillips, your host of Homeroom. Will you join us as we talk with the students, teachers, and staff about all of the great things happening in our schools?
That's right, Renee. Not only are we here to keep you informed about the great things happening in our schools, but to also keep you updated on safety issues.
Our show, Safe Schools, looks at ways to keep your child and our students safe.
Not only are we looking at ways to keep your child and our students safe, but to keep you informed on how to connect with us.
Manténgase informado aquí en Conexión a Padres.
And we also score big from pre-K to high school with MCPSS Athletics.
And then Inside Education puts it all together for you, showing you the ins and outs about news and events taking place across the Mobile County Public School District. We do this to keep you informed.
I believe my child's school is probably one of the best ones I could have picked in Mobile. She's in the PACE program. The teachers are phenomenal. The principal, couldn't ask for a better principal. The research that I had done myself, I believe the quality of education in Mobile County Public School System is excellent. For me and my child, I'm going to stick with the public school system. I think it's the way to go.
We welcome you back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. We are live in the I down in Irvington, Alabama, as Alma Bryant is hosting the Theodore Bobcats tonight. And Corey, great night. Kimberly talked about it in the Future One's forecast. I'm loving the breeze, but most importantly, I'm loving the temperatures right now at game time kickoff. It's feeling great tonight.
I mean, it does feel like fall, I think, is maybe 1 week away from summer supposedly ending. And again, I mentioned the immense heat that has been going on not only through the month of August, but here almost through 3 weeks of September as well. And these coaches have done a great job adjusting, making sure that they have their emergency action plan in place to take care of their student athletes, and emphasizing to their athletes how important it is to hydrate. But it's going to play out all on the field tonight. We're going to see who's ready for 4 quarters of outstanding high school football.
Oh, yes. Alma Bryant is back to receive this kick as they have lined up for them Aiden Adams, and also back for them Sid Johnson. I believe, well, no, Sid Johnson is not back there right now for Bryant. Someone else is back with Adams in the backfield. Stephen Raybon back to receive this kick from Theodore as they're about to line it up, handling the kicking duties for the Bobcats. Number 37, Bobby Farish, a sophomore young man kicking the ball for the Bobcats this season. And we're just seconds away from getting this ball game underway. Farish with a little short pooch kick to one of the up guys right there. Landry Huddleston brings it up to about the 30-yard line, and we're going to get our first look at the Alma Bryant Hurricanes, Corey.
And here it is, the Bryant Hurricanes. I mentioned in my checklist, the line of scrimmage is where they're going to have to establish themselves, and it's going to be important to protect quarterback Tanner Ewing. He's 8 out of 25 passing on the season for only 119 yards. But I tell you what, he doesn't have to do much passing when you have a great running back like Cedric Johnson. The big uglies up front are going to have to give him a little space to run through.
1st and 10 for Ewing. Hands it off to Johnson, trying to weave his way and pick up a yard or two, maybe gets one, and it takes Bryant to 2nd down.
Quick tackle by Reggie Malone on the play and Sheldon Rush. You mentioned defensive coordinator Ryan Little is in a 3-4 defense, so both of these linebackers are right and converge on Johnson on the first play of the game.
So Johnson gets credit for about a yard. We'll call it 2nd and 9 here for the Hurricanes on their own side of the 50-yard line. Hand off to Johnson. He's got a hole, looking for another block, and that's enough for a first down as he gets up to about the 44-yard line, Corey.
And that's the type of momentum that you want to see. You want to make the secondary get into that second level. Nigel Jones, the 5'9", 180-pound senior, makes the tackle from a strong safety position. But great job by the big guys up front for the Bryant Hurricanes. Bryson Joyner, Sean Scarlett, Aaron Gillian, Sean Sweeney creating a big hole for your running back, Ced Johnson. Moving the sticks is what you want to see if you're the Hurricanes.
First down for the Hurricanes, ball sitting at their own 35-yard line. A little misdirection as they hand it off to one of the up guys there for the Bryant Hurricanes, Dylan Purcell.
Dylan Purcell, the H-back, 5'11", 178-pound senior, his 15th rushing attempt. Hit only gone for 83 yards on the season, but that's a nice gain, nice forward progress here on first down. That's what you want to see from the Hurricanes. Getting that tempo, controlling the clock early.
2nd and about 3 here as they cross the midfield stripe. In the eye, Purcell runs into his own players, but he comes out and Corey keeps the legs going and gets into Bobcats territory at about the 37-yard line. Big run from Purcell.
Quick hitter, I love it. Keon Martin, the cornerback, comes up and makes the stop for the Bobcats, but again, continuing to move the offensive coordinator, Wes Pidwell. His offense comes in averaging 10.3 points per game, but a great strategy, giving it to the up back. That's a play that Theodore is going to have to make the adjustments on to try to stop.
Hand off to Johnson. Up the middle he goes. His progress was stopped, but he kept the legs going, runs right into Demoy Kennedy, who holds him up for about a 3 or 4 yard gain, takes the Hurricanes to 2nd down.
Demoy Kennedy, the 6'3", 200-pound senior, who is verbally committed to the University of Alabama, making the tackle from his outside linebacker position. One of the things I noticed, Al, as Cedric Johnson was moving forward, you looked at Demoy Kennedy ripping and trying to draw away that football.
Yeah.
So, again, I love the way that Bryant has come out protecting the football. You look at the fullback, Dylan Purcell and Cedric Johnson, valuing the turnovers, making sure they don't give up that pigskin.
One thing they're trying to do, as you talked about in your checklist, make that clock their ally. Taking their time. We're going to see a lot of running here tonight from the Hurricanes. Coach Hain and his staff big on running that ball. They're running it again back to Ced Johnson. No passes attempted so far. He's about maybe a yard short. 3rd and short here for the Hurricanes coming up.
Again, when you can get to that second level of that defense, Nigel Jones, the 5'9", 180-pound senior, my second time calling his name tonight, brings up 3rd down and 2 yards to go. A huge offensive play right here for the Hurricanes offensively.
Bryant has come out positive, running it. Little keeper up the middle for Ewing. Does he have enough to stretch it out? From our standpoint here atop the press box, it looks like he's going to be close, Corey. Let's zoom in with our binoculars, take a look.
Ephraim Johnson-Boykin, the 5'7", 251-pound senior on the stop for the Hurricanes, and he's going to be up a half a yard short, 4th and inches. Now, if you want to win a football game, this is what it's going to boil down to, a game of inches. If you're the Hurricanes, to get the momentum, get the crowd into it, you must convert this drive right here, Al.
Well, they're run heavy, and for a team like this is pretty much bread and butter for them, so I wouldn't be surprised if Ewing calls his own number once again. They hand off to Johnson, tosses it out, opens up some gaps that offensive line, and that's enough for the first down as Bryant has come out running consecutively and continuing to make it happen. Let's take a look at the impact players for Alma Bryant, Cora.
The impact player, Cedric Johnson. We just mentioned his name. The senior running back leads this Bryant offense at over 408 yards, also has 2 rushing touchdowns. And Franklin New, the senior defensive end, we'll call his name a lot tonight, and we'll talk about him when they get the football.
1st and 10 for the Hurricanes. Their first passing play, trying to get it out to Purcell, incomplete. Take a look at the impact players for Theodore while we have a break here.
Demoy Kennedy, I just mentioned his name. He's an Alabama commit, folks. Coach Collier's been high on him for 3 years, said he has the potential to be the best linebacker he's ever coached. And he coached a pretty good one by the name of C.J. Mosley, who's currently playing for the New York Jets. And the center, Cole Payne. He's been very pleased with the way Cole Payne has been blocking so far, and we'll get an opportunity to see how he controls the line of scrimmage when Theodore gets the football.
Not very often, Corey, you have a center as an impact player, so that's pretty huge there for the Bobcats. Hand off to Johnson. He runs into a wall of Bobcats, and standing right there in front of him, number 32, Demoy Kennedy, had a chance to give him a Crichton Optimist Player of the Week award this past Wednesday. So the young man had a pick 6 last week, Corey, in a 14-0 victory over Fairhope. So he's a very talented guy. I'm sure we'll be calling Kennedy's name a lot tonight.
Without question. Tyree Farr, the defensive end, 5'11", 230-pound junior with the stop for the Bobcats. But when you pass the football, that gives you down and distance in the favor of the Bobcats when you come away not catching the football. Now you're looking at 3rd down and 10, the first of the game, 3rd and long for the Hurricanes so far.
Play clock down to 10 seconds. Ewing fakes the handoff. It's a keeper design play for him to get out. Picks up maybe 3 or 4.
Quarterback keepers, Ewing runs the ball.
4th down here coming up for the Hurricanes.
Could not get outside of that containment, but it was positive yards. Going to bring up 4th down and 6 yards to go. Now it's decision-making time for offensive coordinator Wes Pidwell. Again, a great opening drive so far by the Bryant Hurricanes that has chewed up some almost 6 minutes here of the first quarter.
Yeah, I can't believe it, Corey, but we do have a flag on the play. I just peeked around the corner. It's 6:20 remaining here. So we have a sideline warning against Theodore from our referee, Gary Poole. Just a warning against them right now. Not encouraged. Here are the rest of our officials for tonight. Grant Baxter, Anthony Garrett, Jerry Burns, Chip Mayhall, John Esposito, and Kevin Duhan, led by Gary Poole. So that warning against Theodore does not occur in any yardage assessed to them, just a simple warning. Play action for the Hurricanes. They decide to throw it, and that pass is complete. Corey getting that ball down to Purcell, and he is still fighting for yards close to the goal line.
And I think that's Logan
Murphy, number 80. Purcell is 30. So those 3 and 8s look alike with that dark blue. Great connection for Ewing to Murphy.
5'5", 143-pound senior making the catch. If you're going to go ahead and thread the needle the way Tanner Ewing did, you might as well catch it. He did that and had yards after contact as well. What an opening drive so far. Now don't need any penalties here on 1st and goal for the Hurricanes.
A handoff to the up guy. He's close to the line. No signal as of yet, but there is some laundry on the field. On the far side, Corey, near the numbers at the top. See if we can get the call here.
And I want to go back to that 4th down call to where Tanner Ewing went right to Logan Murphy. Murphy did a good job of holding on to the football as 2 Theodore defenders were sitting right there on top of him.
So we have a false start against Bryant's going to push him back 5 yards. Still be 1st and goal here.
Heat timeout.
And there's our heat timeout at 5:41 remaining in the first quarter. Impressive opening drive here from the Hurricanes, Corey.
I agree. I think they've come out, but here's the key, Al. Coming out of this heat timeout, with it being first down and goal to go, you don't want to have and control a 6.5-minute drive and come away with no points.
That's right.
You're knocking on the door to smash them in the mouth of the Bobcats, and you want to go ahead and capitalize off of that.
You do. Let's take it down to the sidelines. Check in with Kimberly Dunn.
One of the other great things about tonight, on top of the weather, is that there is a ton of electricity down here tonight from the players and from the fans. Everyone is excited about tonight, and you can see that translated on the field as we have, I feel, had a quick first half in this football game. I feel like it is just flying by, and so there's been a lot of great progress made by both of these teams, and so we will see if they can continue that for the rest of the night.
Thank you, Kim. We appreciate that. When it comes to high school sports, scores, players, and the latest on all sports within Mobile County Public Schools, you can get informed on MCPSS Athletics with Brad Lowell, only on the MCPSS TV network. All right, first and goal here for the Hurricanes. Men in motion. Johnson in the backfield. They hand it off to him, weaving his way, Corey, and he's going nowhere as the Bobcats surround him and wrap him up.
Quick pitch again by the Hurricanes. It's so hard to get past the line of scrimmage because the outside linebackers are doing a wonderful job, the inside linebackers of plugging up those holes. Sheldon Rush, the 5'10", 191-pound junior, bringing up second down and goal to go now for the Hurricanes. And again, you were on the 3-yard line. You had the ability to give it to your up back or your H-back in that situation. Now it's a little bit tougher to do as they've taken the H-back out of the formation.
Ball sitting on the 6-yard line right now. Ewing gets caught, a little misdirection, but the Bobcats figure it out, and they're going to take a loss on that one. So it takes now the Hurricanes 3rd and goal, Corey.
DeMoy Kennedy stays at home and contains the pressure. Tyler Farr finishes up on that, Tyree Farr on the stop for the Bobcats. Now you're looking at 3rd down and goal to go from the 8-yard line. So again, you had the ball going 70 yards. Right now the drive is kind of stalled. Let's see what kind of play call offensive coordinator Wes Pitwell is able to come away with.
Let's go Hurricane!
First time seeing Ewing in the shotgun. They're going to throw. Little delayed play action. That ball to Purcell, and all around him are nothing but Bobcats. Michael Timms, Tyree Farr, and many more, Corey.
Nigel Jones on the stop.
Wow.
And again, you want to come away with some type of points right here. Theodore was bending but did not break, was able to keep Bryant out of the end zone so far. Going to bring up 4th down from the 9-yard line.
We have Landry Huddleston on attempting a 26-yard field goal. Gets the kick up. And Bryant is on top 3-0 over Theodore with the first points of the night. We'll come back with more action. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
A teacher is one of the biggest investors in a community.
They impact the lives of those we value the most.
Teachers share knowledge which helps shape and mold our future leaders.
Teachers show direction and help build a sense of purpose. Are you ready to make a change? For more information on teaching opportunities, teacher incentives, or to apply with the Mobile County Public Schools, log on to www.mcpss.com.
Welcome back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. I'm Al Wheaton, joined by Corey Bounty. On the sidelines, we have Kimberly Dunn and Corey. Bryant came out churning up the waters. They come away with 3, but I know they wanted that 6, man.
Yeah, without question. They'll take the 3 on the board because what that does is eliminate the goose egg, but gives you a lot of confidence on the offensive side of the ball. You want to stay away from those goal line penalties, but again, a very, very impressive opening drive by Coach Hain and his Hurricane offense.
Joseph Savanese on to kick off for the Hurricanes and lined up to receive for Theodore, Christian Porter and Jamarius Brown. They kick away from them. That ball goes out of bounds. So let's see if Coach Collier will make him kick it over or if he will take the yardage after the assessment here.
And the kickoff goes out of bounds. It'll be a flag.
So it looks like they're going to line up for a re-kick course, and they're going to penalize Bryant, and Coach Collier is going to make him re-kick, see if he can get some extra yardage out of this.
Yeah, you look at Coach Haynes talking to his players right there, talking to his kicker, letting them know, hey, look, we want to keep that ball in play. We worked on it all week long, and it's a situation to where you want to take care of on the kickoffs, making sure that everybody's running their lanes and you don't give up a quick, explosive score to get the Theodore fans back into it.
Savanese lining up again to kick this one here. Same return crew back for the Bobcats. And puts this one on the ground. One of the up guys takes it for the Bobcats. Up to the 45 to the midfield stripe. Good return coming up right here for Theodore as they go out of bounds. And nice return by Gary Randall, number 21.
Chandler Randall, the 5'7", 222-pound junior on the return for the Bobcats. And again, it's all about field position and momentum. Here, you have to have a great stand. Dan Pallone, out of his 4-3 defense, the defense giving up 30 points per game. Having an opportunity here, though, with the clock shrinking at 3:13 left to go here in the first quarter to come away with a huge defensive stand.
Quarterback Gavin Moore back here taking the first snap, and they go to a little quick out, and we got some little trickeration here. Lateral pass as Theodore is getting creative, and that is a completion from DeChristian Porter to Jamarius Brown. 34-yard touchdown, Corey. First play for Theodore.
They saw something on film that they really wanted to take advantage of, and it was wide receiver to wide receiver. DeChristian Porter with his pass attempt completed to Jamarius Brown, the 6', 168-pound senior. All he had to do was come down with it. The Bryant defender was right on top of him and was not able to knock the ball away. You probably would have liked to seen him go with the pass interference there and get the pass interference instead of giving up the touchdown, but that's the explosiveness that the Bobcats come away with. One play, 14 seconds or less, and they have 7 on the board.
Theodore's on top 7-3. We'll be back with more action. This is the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
As a student in the Mobile County Public Schools, there are a few things I've come to expect. One is a quality education, and the other is a quality lunch. Not only are our school meals well balanced, meeting all federal nutritional standards, but they also have less fat, fewer calories, and they taste really good. Oh, and I forgot to mention, our school lunches contain whole wheat, grains, fruits, and vegetables to give me the energy and brain power to get me through the day.
We are back in the eye. That was a 34-yard touchdown pass from DeChristian Porter to Jamarius Brown. A lateral at that, Corey, and that puts Theodore on top 7-3 over Alma Bryant. And all you can say is just wow as the Bobcats come out striking early.
Yeah, you knew that was going to happen. Again, that was a design play that they had success with. Let's see if the Hurricanes can sustain. And it's going to take that kind of sustaining drive. They drained some 6.5 to 7 minutes off of the clock, really 8 minutes off of the clock, came away with the field goal, which is a very impressive score. Now you've given the Bobcats an opportunity to make the adjustments. Defensive coordinator Ryan Little in his first year taking over the reins of this defense, having one of the best defensive players in the nation in linebacker Demoy Kennedy from his outside linebacker position. You look at Ryan Little coming over in his first year from Jackson High School, the Bobcat defense coming off back-to-back shutouts.
Bryant setting up at their own 21-yard line. 2 minutes and 56 seconds remain here in the first quarter. Ewing rolling out, throws that down the middle. The coaches from the Hurricanes begging and pleading for pass interference. They felt someone got in contact with Logan Murphy as he came across the middle in the flat there.
Yeah, you just want to continue to run your crisp route, let the officials adjust to that football game, and if they see it, they're going to bring out that yellow flag. They didn't see anything, but getting behind now early, down and distance-wise, 2nd down and 10 yards to go for the Hurricanes. Cedric Johnson has to bust a big one and get him positive yards here on 2nd down.
Hand off to Johnson, come around the edge, spinning outside the numbers, and pushed out of bounds there, wrapped up by number 9 for Theodore on that tackle.
And if this flag is against the Bobcats, the Hurricanes were able to catch a break. It's in the area of holding, but let's see how the officials go ahead and settle it out.
I'm a bit surprised Alma Bryant came out throwing on their first play, Corey, rather than running. It was only less than 3 minutes here in the first quarter. I was a bit surprised with that play call there. So face mask against Theodore.
And it's going to be a face mask against the Bobcats.
2nd down.
Make it 1st down and 10 for the Hurricanes.
So Gary Poole signals 2nd down. Maybe it was an incidental.
Incidental face mask again. Now, instead of 2nd down and 10, you're now looking at 2nd down and 3.
Hand off to Johnson again behind that big line. He picks up maybe 1.5. That'll take Alma Bryant to 3rd down.
Great job of the interior lineman out of this 3-4 defense. You look at Ephraim Johnson Boykin, 251 pounds, just filling up his gaps and making sure said Johnson doesn't have anywhere to run. But when you're running up against 6'1", 220, 5'7", 251, there's not a lot of space in between the line of scrimmage.
3rd and 2 for the Hurricanes. They go back to Johnson. He stretches it out. Does he have enough to get it? According to our camera work here, he is going to be really close, Corey, as the clock continues to tick. 1:45 remaining in the first quarter.
And I think it is going to bring up a measurement by this crew. You look at this situation to where the officials are signaling that it is going to bring up.
Well, it looks like they're giving them the 1st down, I believe. Yeah, the chains are moving. I thought they were coming out for a second, so that's enough for the 1st down.
And that's very important. That's what you want to see because you came up empty on 1st down. The penalty helped you tremendously, but the stop was made by Michael Timms, the outside linebacker for the Bobcats, 5'9", 185-pound senior. But the Hurricanes, again, having success on down and distance.
1st and 10, handed off to Johnson. Up the middle he goes. Line is pushing him back, so maybe his forward progress will get him about 1 or 2 there, Corey.
Ephraim Johnson Boykin on the stop again, and now you're looking at a situation where it's going to bring 2nd down and 8 yards to go.
1 minute remaining here in the first quarter.
Time of possession all in favor of the Hurricanes here in the first quarter.
As you said, Corey, maybe 5 or 6 seconds went off the clock for Theodore's one and only offensive play of the first quarter. Lateral out to Logan Murphy. He needs to get on top of that. That's a live ball.
Bring a 3rd down.
So that pushes Alma Bryant to 3rd down.
We saw Logan Murphy make the tough catch earlier in the red zone area, was not able to hold on to that one. Perhaps heard the pitter-patter of the footsteps of the Bobcat defense closing in, but nonetheless, you want him to come away, put 2 hands on that, and try to gain at least 1 or 2 yards after the catch. Now you look at the situation, 3rd down and still 8 yards to go for the Hurricanes.
So I stand corrected, Corey. That was not a lateral. That was an incomplete pass because the game clock now starts at 38 seconds. Ewing rolling out, does have Murphy down there, but it's triple coverage, 3 Bobcats all around him. That does stop the clock, and it'll take Bryant to 4th down.
Jamarius Brown, the strong safety, 6 foot, 168-pound senior in coverage. 29 seconds now remaining here in the first quarter. Going to bring up 4th down and 8. We're going to get an opportunity to watch the Hurricanes attempt their first punt of the night. And Coach Collier is going to send 2 Bobcats back for this punt return.
DeChristian Porter and Jamarius Brown, that name familiar. They just connected on a touchdown. Cam Baratek back to punt. Gets a nice punt off right there. On the run for Theodore. DeChristian Porter up the middle. Flags are coming in. And Porter continues to run. I wonder if this is going to come back. Could it be a delayed reaction here if this is a block in the back or something against the Bobcats, but he took that one to the house scorer.
And if we're able to see the replay, folks, I want you to see how the Christian Porter plants his foot in the turf and decides to immediately go north and south. If it is against the Bobcats, he didn't need any additional help, because as soon as he planted his foot and decided to go north and south, he was going to score, and we'll see the flags come out. I'm not sure if there was a block in the back, but again, that was a huge return and showing the explosive ability of the Christian Porter on special teams. The Bobcats had a lot of success. Really didn't have to have a block in the back if there was one, or a hold, because again, Porter got the football off the bounce, knew exactly where he wanted to go with it, followed his blockers. Let's see if this score is going to be negated and come off the board.
White, number 2.
So the points come off the scoreboard, holding against Theodore. 11 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. So they're coming back.
Travion Pines looks like he's going to be the guilty party for the Bobcats on that hold. But again, the explosiveness of the Christian Porter on full display here so far in the first quarter.
The offense of Theodore goes back to the sidelines right quick. And they are marking the ball ready to play. Maybe they're not coming out. It's 11 seconds remaining here in the first quarter. Defense for Alma Bryant is on the field. And here come the Bobcats.
Justin Ridgway, the offensive coordinator for the Bobcats. They're averaging 29 points per game. Ridgway's in his 3rd year with Coach Collier.
Man in motion for Theodore, jet sweep. Looks like a similar play before. They couldn't get it, so Porter breaks back across the field, and 2 flags are on the field as time has expired in the first quarter, but we'll have to address these penalty flags here.
And if it's against the Theodore Bobcats, again, it's a costly one, but you could see they wanted to go to the exact same play that they had called a touchdown for that took them less than 10 seconds, but the Christian Porter didn't have anywhere to go, reversed his field, and sometimes a busted play like that turns into a big one, but your offensive linemen just got their hands caught in the cookie jar if it's going to be called against the Bobcats. As we take a look at the replay, you look at Porter trying to reverse direction. The flags come flying in, and that's an easy call to make right there in the interior of the offensive line for the Bobcats.
Looks like they really have to decide
White,
what they're going to go with, so it'll be holding against Theodore.
That's going to be in the quarter.
And it is the end of the first quarter, so Theodore's on top 7-3. We'll sort it all out, come back on the other side with the second quarter. This is the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
Each month, more than 90 guns are reported stolen from unlocked vehicles, creating the potential of serious injury or death.
Lock it up.
Many violent acts and crimes are committed with stolen guns.
Lock it up.
According to ATF, stolen guns pose a substantial threat to public safety.
Lock it up.
Be responsible. Take time to record your handgun serial number and secure it from thieves. Lock it up.
Lock it up for me.
Welcome back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Al Whedon, Corey LeBounty. Down on the sidelines, we have Kimberly Dunn. Theodore on top 7-3 over Bryant. We are in the eye, and Corey, an interesting first quarter. Theodore only touched the ball twice. One play they got a touchdown, and the next play they got a penalty.
Yeah, that's huge for the Theodore Bobcats, though. One play, touchdown pass for the Theodore Bobcats, and again, 7 points on the board. Again, credit to the Hurricanes offense by coming and grounding and pounding. They knew they had to control the clock. That's what they were able to do in the first quarter. They come knocking on the goal line, get down to the 3-yard line, and aren't able to come away with the score. And because of it, you look at now Bryant having 3 points, Theodore having 7, but I tell you, Bryant right back here with the football, having an opportunity now to continue to march and control this clock, something I know Coach Doug Hayne is very, very happy with.
So we've had the officials sort this thing out, Corey. I believe now they're going to walk the yardage off. On that last play of the first quarter, we had a hold against Theodore. Their offense is still on the sideline discussing things with their coaches, and the officials are still discussing matters further. So I believe now the yardage is going to be walked off. Here we go. So at some point, we will eventually get back to some action here. Start off the second quarter with Theodore on top 7-3 over Bryant.
Our corporate
So they're bringing the sticks into play here.
Is AOC Dr. Lane, Seaman Brand Oysters, and Master Boat Builders.
Last year, Theodore beat Bryant 27-7, and they have pretty much dominated this series. We'll talk about that later on. And now the Bobcats come back on the field. Coach Hayne talking to the officials saying, wait a minute now, we had a penalty, so that needs to be assessed, because right now the down marker is equivalent to the original line of scrimmage.
Situation where coaches are going to make sure that
right.
going into the start of the second quarter that everything is assessed correctly. The officials huddling it up, making sure that they do assess the correct yardage on the penalty. And when they finish it up, we'll know exactly what our down and distance situation is.
Let's head out to the sidelines, check in with Kimberly Dunn.
Yes, I'm here with the athletic director for the Mobile County Public School Systems, Mr. Brad Lowell. How are you doing tonight?
Doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about some of the exciting things that are going on within our programs?
We're just in full swing in sports. We're already, it seems like, about halfway through with the athletic, or as far as football season. We have volleyball in full swing, cross country's running, so we're moving on. And luckily we got a pretty night tonight. Wasn't sure from yesterday's storms that went through, but it's probably the best night we've had so far.
So what are some of the things that y'all are doing to emphasize female sports specifically?
Well, I mean, we emphasize every sport. Every sport's important. It's really important to have build a sports program within your school, not just focusing on one sport, but you share athletes, you promote, all the kids to get involved and be part of something. And athletics is one of those extracurricular activities that we really want kids to play.
Now, athletics doesn't just start in high school, it also starts in middle school. So what are some of the things that are going on at that middle school level?
Well, it's the same thing as the high schools. High schools are as strong as a lot of times their middle school programs. And so we try to put a lot of emphasis in our middle schools, the same thing, really get kids involved. A lot of kids are just starting in the middle school. Some kids start earlier than middle school, but a lot of kids start at the middle school and they're learning the game, and it's really important to promote a positive environment for them to not only to learn the game, but also have fun, and that's what it's about.
Now, a lot of people may not know, but you're also the star of a show, kind of MCPSS Athletics. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, we want to promote our programs and our schools and our coaches and our kids. So that's an opportunity for us to really showcase some of our athletes and showcase some of our coaches that actually are out there doing the work and putting in the time that they have every day to build their programs.
All right, well, thank you so much for taking time to talk with us and letting us know everything that's going on with the MCPSS Athletics.
Well, I appreciate it, and thank you guys for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Appreciate that. Talking to Athletics Director Brad Lowell. Corey, it looked as if Coach Eric Collier wanted to get his 2 cents worth, because that was a really, really, really long penalty they assessed against Theodore.
It was first down and 24 yards to go for the Bobcats on first down. Now it looks like it's going to bring up second down at about 17 yards to go.
That appeared to be the dispute, as he was saying, wait a minute now, why is this holding penalty so long? So quick pass out there from Gavin Moore. That's going to get a lot of the yardage back to the original line of scrimmage as he connects with Demetrius Bowie. And Bowie is now into the Bryant's territory.
Bowie's third reception on the season. Great tackle by the Hurricanes, making sure that he did not secure the first down. And you look at that tackle by the Hurricanes, assuring that the Bobcats were going to bring up third down and 9 yards to go.
Looks like they've gained a free 5. Had a young man jump across. Looked like 79 Tristan Lee may have been caught in the neutral zone there. So offsides against the Hurricanes. That'll give 5 yards to the Bobcats.
Third down and now close to 3 yards to go. Makes it a lot easier down and distance-wise, but at 6 foot, 310 pounds, when you flinch, it's going to be a big-time flinch. And correction, it's going to bring third down and 4 yards to go now for the Bobcats.
Kirsten Rogers lined up in the backfield. Bobcats toss it out to him. He's got a lot of yardage. Can he cut back inside the hash? And he does, picks up the first down, getting to about the 35, maybe 33-yard line.
Weston on the stop, the 6'2", 182-pound senior, comes away with his 19th tackle of the season, his 6th solo tackle, already has 7 tackles for loss. The Bobcats are going to pick up the first down on that particular run, but the Hurricanes, again, their defense has to be fresh because they were only on the field for that one play that led to a Bobcat touchdown. The second play and then led to the end of the first quarter. So here is the longest drive of the night so far for Theodore.
I've noticed Theodore, with all their offensive play calling, they've run to the right side of the line, avoiding Franklin New, the best player on defense, you could say, for Bryant. And the Hurricanes shut that run down right there. Possibly no gain on the play. Maybe about 1 yard they're going to give to the Bobcats.
The Bryant defense come out in that 4-3 formation. Defensive coordinator Dan Pallone has devised a system now to where it's second down and 9 yards to go. The defensive backs want to make sure they don't let any of the wide receivers get behind them. The line of scrimmage, they've done a good job trying to control that line of scrimmage so far, but again, the defensive backs are really going to have to step up their game for the Hurricanes.
Pass complete. Gavin Moore gets it out to his big receiver, Demetrius Bowie. He takes a hit out of bounds. See where they're going to mark this at. He stretched it out to about the 17-yard line, so Bobcats in the red zone.
Franklin New on the stop along with Sheldon Kanan. And I just mentioned where the vulnerability may be for this Hurricane defense. It is in the secondary. The line of scrimmage, the guys have done a good job up front. You just have to make sure you're staying off of the wide receivers, not letting them get behind you, though. A fresh set of downs for the Bobcats coming up.
9 minutes remaining here in the first half. Porter cannot escape, and he is tackled for a loss. The Bryant Hurricanes hold down, Corey.
Landon Weston, again, coming up, making his name known tonight. Another great stop by the Hurricanes, but you can look at that play by the Christian Porter. Again, looks like he wanted to throw that ball because the type of formation when he's running, he had success early. Again, their quick score ability, but it looks like they're trying to set that up again. Bryant did a great job. The defensive backs did a good job of staying home and Landon Weston coming up from his safety position, making the stop.
Bobcats looking over to the sideline, getting the call from offensive coordinator Justin Ridgway. 10 seconds remaining on the play clock. Moore tosses it out to Rogers. Rogers listed at 5'9", 180, Corey. We talked about it before the game. This kid's got to have some miracle grow or something. He can't be 5'9". He looks about 6, maybe 6'1" to me.
Just a tremendous looking back for the Theodore Bobcats. Again, following in that tradition, though. That's a big time stop by Cameron Baratek. Baratek comes in with 19 tackles, make that 20 on the season. His 7th solo tackle, making sure that the Bobcat runner was not going to gain any additional yardage.
3rd and 13 for Theodore. We've seen a bit more passing tonight than we thought we would from them. Thought they'd be a bit more run heavy. Pass again on the screen set up. But that's going nowhere. The Hurricanes defense hold. They're going to be way short to get the line of game, which I believe was about the 8-yard line to pick up a first down. So it's going to be 4th and about 7 here for Theodore. And it appears that they're bringing in the kicking crew, Corey.
Theodore has a decision to make. Looks like they're going to go ahead and go to the foot of their kicker. Let's see if he can knock this down. You mentioned Farish.
Bobby Farish setting up for a 30-yard field goal here to extend the lead for the Bobcats. And that is going to be no good, Corey. Way wide right, and it is ball over on downs after that kick. So Hurricanes are going to take over in their own side of the field with 6:41 remaining. Let's take a look at both of these coaches tonight. with our coaches comparison. Eric Collier in his 7th year at Theodore. As you can see, his overall record right there, 34-33. Graduate of Alba High School. He's got a lot of connections down here in South Mobile County and interests outside of work, as you can say, fishing and spending time with his kids. All across from him, Doug Hain, former coach at W.S. Neal, also coached over at Hattiesburg High in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. 2nd year here at Bryant, a graduate of Lambeth University. Corey, another interesting college head coach, graduate of Lambeth University, Hugh Freeze.
Yeah, I mean, that guy, Hugh Freeze, he'll coach from almost anywhere.
The hospital bed a couple weeks ago.
The hospital bed, rocking chair, especially made dentist chair, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's the type of passion that Hugh Freeze has. But a huge stop by the Bryant defense. Again, now the Hurricanes trailing 7-3 with 6:03 remaining here in the 2nd quarter. Time to control that clock again if you're the Hurricanes.
Little quick out from the Bryant Hurricanes. That's incomplete. And I believe with that pass, we may receive our 2nd heat timeout of the ball game with the clock at 5:53 remaining here. And there's this signal from referee Gary Poole. We'll get our 2nd heat timeout. Not that it's very hot tonight, Corey, but we're in the part of the season where we're going to take these breaks right here, and we'll be back with more action. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
At Mobile County Public Schools, we believe it starts with us. That's why we offer Signature Academies.
Hello, I'm Jordan Clark, and I'm in the Health Service Academy at John L. LaFleur Magnet High School. My future career is to be an obstetrician gynecologist. With this academy, I'm learning firsthand from people already working in the industry. Shadowing them on the job really makes me want to study hard and work harder towards my career goal.
Signature Academies are open to all students in Mobile County Public High Schools. Visit mcpss.com.
To find out what's happening in Mobile County Public Schools, from school news to weather alerts, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or our website, mcpssthewire.com. Mobile County Public Schools, learning today, leading tomorrow. Leading right now is Theodore on top of Bryant, 7-3. 2nd and long here for the Hurricanes. A little misdirection. They're trying to get it out with a deep pass. That pass incomplete. Could not connect with DJ Betts, and it'll take the Hurricanes to 3rd down.
A little double deuce on the play. The pass was intended for the 6'1", 154-pound junior Damian Betts, being defended on the play by Travion Pines, the 5'9", 166-pound senior. Now you look at this situation for the Hurricanes. 3 and out, putting the ball on the foot. That was probably the least successful drive and the least amount of time that has elapsed off the clock for the Hurricanes. But again, 2 punt returners back for the Bobcats. We saw the explosiveness of Porter that came back due to a penalty. Let's see if they're able to return another one and get a big play on special teams.
Stoppage and play right there. Flag on the play coming in from the side. Possibly false start. And that will push the Hurricanes back 5 yards, and Baratek will get another shot at it.
Penalty's going to go against the Hurricanes.
Talked with Coach Hain before the ball game, and I asked him what area has he seen the most improvement from his team. He said actually mentally incurring less penalties, playing a bit smarter. But Corey, a couple of times tonight, those penalties have come back to bite the Hurricanes. We know one specifically, they were 1st and goal and had a false start, and that kick goes off the side of the foot of Baratek. He shanks it. Looks like one of my shots over there at Spring Hill College Golf Course, Corey. Wow.
19-yard line of the Bobcats.
That's where they're marking it out.
It's one of those situations to where you weren't really going to be able to flip the field, but you were going to go ahead and probably not put the Bobcats already in the red zone area.
Yeah,
coming off of this situation. The Hurricanes are going to have to step up defensively. You mentioned the defensive end for the Alma Bryant Hurricane. Franklin New, haven't called his name a lot tonight from his defensive end position, but it's because the Bobcats really haven't run at him.
1st and 10 for Theodore. It's almost like where they were earlier on their last possession. Ball sitting squarely right there at the 20-yard line. Knocking on the red zone, but more importantly, trying to get into the end zone. That pass completed to Bowie. Picks up about 5 yards. takes Theodore to second down.
Landon Weston on the stop for the Hurricanes. Again, you just look at the defensive backs of the Hurricanes. That's where the Bobcats want to go. Eric Collier loves to run the football, but he sees something that's going to give them success throwing the football also.
Rogers on the run, cuts back, picks up the first down, gets close to the 5-yard line. I believe they're going to mark him maybe just inside the 5. It's going to be first and goal for Theodore as they're on the move trying to get on the board here in the second quarter.
And this is where Theodore's offense really makes their hay. They come in averaging 29 points per game. Kevin Dennis, Colby Kyles, Cole Payne, Michael Payton, and Desmond Ford have an opportunity up front for this offensive line to get 6 on the board the old-fashioned way, created on the short field off of that bad punt.
Theodore line up in that pistol. They fake it, rolling out and trying to connect and cannot do it. That ball thrown a bit too low as he tried to get hooked up with his receiver, Corbin Johnson. It'll be second and goal for the Bobcats.
Corbin Johnson, the tight end, 6'4", 182-pound senior, could not come away with that catch, which was a little bit low on the throw. Gavin Moore, you get him, hit him in the numbers, maybe has an opportunity to bowl over into that end zone.
Yeah,
but
that would have been a score, Corey, if he had put
without
that on the
question.
numbers.
Second down now, Al. Goal to go for the Bobcats. I would like to see here, you have a new running back in the game. Billy Flanagan now the deep back for the Bobcats.
Going with the power I formation here as they hand it off to Flanagan. He's trying to bull up the middle, but no, meant by the big boys for the Hurricanes, and they're not going to have it. That's going to push the Bobcats to third down.
Franklin New dominated the line of scrimmage. He has offers from Southern Mississippi and also Navy. Comes in here with 27 tackles that he just made, a 12th solo. You look at New shredding off the offensive guard and just destroying the ball carrier on the play. Great stop as Rogers checks back in for the Bobcats offense.
Huge check right there for the Hurricanes. Third and goal. Moore takes the snap, hands it off to Rogers. And Rogers, it looks like he's going to do it, Corey. He has hit pay dirt with the touchdown. Touchdown for the Theodore Bobcats. Kirsten Rogers with a 5-yard run.
Great job of the right side of that line. Michael Payton and Desmond Ford getting the push up front for running back Kirsten Rogers. Kirsten Rogers now with his 6th rushing touchdown of the season, putting up 6 more points for Theodore.
Stoppage and play right there, Corey. Gary Poole trying to sort things out here on the field.
I thought he bowled over into the end zone for the touchdown, but it looks like we're going to have a reset. The yard markers do say 4th down. 2:42 is being asked to be put back on the clock.
Right, so the touchdown has been taken off the board. So instead of a PAT, it is 4th down. So apparently that was not enough. So
make some noise for the boys.
We're going to have a field goal attempt here by Ferris. And that kick is up, and it is good. So Ferris puts it through. The points come off the board, but they just put 3 back up now. So we'll get some clarification on that, Corey. Got to thank our folks at Firehouse Subs. Enjoy more subs, save more lives. Don't forget a portion of subs purchased goes to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation, providing life-saving equipment to first responders. Got to thank Jim and Susie Sherman at the Greenlight Road location for supporting us tonight with Firehouse Subs. So we do appreciate that. Also, Future Ones, where you can get team apparel and equipment from baseball to wrestling and all sports in between. Wear the future with Future Ones. And coming up at halftime, we are almost there. Can't believe it, but time has flown by. It's almost time for the Chick-fil-A Challenge, Corey. 2:42 remaining here in the first half. So Kimberly Dunn, she's going to go into the stands, get a spectator, ask them a question, see if they'll get it right. Hook them up with a Chick-fil-A prospect. The Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge coming up at halftime.
That was a touchdown officially by Kirsten Rogers. What they were asking for was a reset on the time because apparently the game clock was still running after the touchdown was signaled.
That's why I was wondering, Corey, like it looked like a touchdown, right?
Right, they got that squared away, so that was the extra point attempted. Our new score 14-3 in favor of the Theodore Bobcats, Al.
Farish boots this one to about the 20-yard line as Logan Murphy takes it. He's knocked out of bounds, maybe about the 27-28. I'm glad they got it sorted out because it appeared as if they had taken the points off the board because here at the stadium, they had not awarded the points. The score was still 7-3.
Yeah, you saw the side judge go ahead and signal a touchdown, but when Gary Poole came over, you weren't sure exactly what he was asking for from the official timekeeper up there. It was officially 2:42 being put back on the clock, and now the Bryant Hurricanes coming off of that probably 12-yard punt, setting up that short field, which led to that quick score again by Theodore. The Hurricanes would like to elapse and take off a full 2:34 here and put 6 on the board themselves.
On the keeper right there, Ewing, and he goes nowhere but down as he is surrounded by several Bobcats, but I do see some laundry on the turf there. Flag on the play.
Looked like that would be in the area of holding. So we'll see if that's called against the Hurricanes as the Bobcats were in the backfield very quickly.
And Alma Bryant, they're walking backwards, Corey, as if they know this penalty will be assessed against them.
Oh.
So Theodore has declined the penalty. It was a loss on the play, so it'll be second about 14 or 15 yards here for the Hurricanes.
5-yard loss on the play. Eric Collier, I do believe, has 2 timeouts remaining here.
I believe so.
Matter of fact, he has 3 timeouts.
I don't think he's used the timeout yet, unless he used one. No, another flag has come in. Play clock did not expire, but it was offsides against Theodore. So 5 yards will be rewarded to Bryant, and we eventually will get a second down here.
You just mark that right back off, but it changes again the play call. Second down and 9 yards to go. Cedric Johnson needs to get involved as they had a lot of success with him early in the first quarter.
They did, and there he is, Corey. You called it in a big run. That's enough for a first down. We'll stop the clock and let the Hurricanes reset and get their next play call.
And that's the type of dominance that we saw in the first quarter by this offensive line, creating spaces and opportunities for the Hurricanes. You take a look at the replay, you see the hole that Johnson sees. Great secondary move right there, making sure the defender is picking up nothing but air, and he goes ahead and gains that valuable first down for Alba.
Murphy and Betts lined up at the bottom of the screen. They give it off to Dylan Purcell, and up the middle he goes, but a flag comes in. Corey, I think this one might be coming back.
Yeah, I mean, a situation to where it was a great job of getting the ball to the up back, Dylan Purcell. He gained positive yardage, but as soon as he got into that secondary, you saw from the back judge the holding. Personal foul called against the Hurricanes, a chop block immediately called by the back judge, something that they're trained to watch for. So you take a very potent run by the H-back Purcell right up the gut, and you negate it.
Not a hold. That'll be a big 15 right there. So that will take away all the run that Johnson did, plus some more. And you hate to see that for the young men where they're just getting momentum going, get a good positive play, and then they're going backwards. As you can see on your TV screen there, 1:43 remaining here in the second quarter. We're almost near halftime. Don't forget Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge coming up. Also, take a look at the bands, especially right here for the folks at the Alma Bryant Hurricanes. They're going to be getting out on the field, and the Bobcats band as well, trying to weave his way through those Bobcats. Cedric Johnson, the pile is still moving, and there is the whistle finally coming in as he is about at the 25-yard line.
Situation to where now the Hurricanes offensive staff and head coach want a timeout to see what they're able to come away with. After this long penalty, it will bring up second down. And
so Theodore has called timeout.
Close to 14 yards to go, maybe. I take that back.
A bit more than that, Corey. Yeah, about 20 to go, second and 20. It'll be long long yardage here for the Hurricanes. Theodore averaging 28.8 points a contest on offense, but as we talked about earlier, only giving up 9.8 points a contest. So interesting ball game we've had so far here tonight, Corey. 14-3 with Theodore on top.
Yeah, it's a big time coming out party by the Hurricanes on their first offensive drive, milking some 9 minutes off of the clock, and that's big time. The Hurricanes now with 1:26 remaining here in the second quarter, coming up off of second down and 25 yards to go.
Don't forget that Chick-fil-A halftime trivia challenge coming up at halftime. Kimberly Dunn's going to try to award another lucky spectator with the Chick-fil-A prize pack. The Chick-fil-A halftime trivia challenge just around the corner. Al Weed and Corey LeBounty, Kimberly Dunn on the scene. Our statistician, China Powell, down in the eye in Irvington, Alabama, as it is second down and long for the Hurricanes. And right now the officials bringing the teams together, huddling up and discussing some things, Corey. I think they're going to talk about getting some of this chippiness out right now.
Yeah, it's just a sportsmanship, a little preventive maintenance by your white hat tonight, Mr. Poole, and it's not a situation that you want to see anything dirty or any personal fouls or anybody be ejected, but now second down and 25 yards to go for the Hurricanes.
I mean, it's the Battle of South Mobile County, so you got to throw the records out the window. It's all about pride right now. Sid Johnson showing that pride with a big run as he gets to about the 33, maybe 34-yard line. Still some extracurriculars going on.
And again, you just look at the Bobcats. As soon as they stand up Cedric Johnson, they're looking to pry that football away. Johnson does a wonderful job protecting the football until he hears the whistle blow. You look at the moves, just a low center of gravity, and it's just a tug-of-war match now. As the Theodore Bobcats, Jamarius Brown trying to pry that football away by any means. The Bobcats going to call their second timeout of the half.
Another timeout being called. 1:15 remaining here in the first half. Interesting so far, Corey. A bit more passing than I thought we would see tonight, and I believe maybe offensive coordinator for Theodore, Justin Ridgway, as you talked about it, saw some things and wanted to take advantage of it early. As we saw, their first play from scrimmage was a lateral pass, but they passed a bit more than relying on Kirsten Rogers, the big workhorse for the Bobcats.
Yeah, I think you have to take what the defense gives you. If you see the defense is biting on the play action or coming downhill strong, it will open up that passing game, and that's exactly what has happened. And you look at the strength of this Hurricane team, only trailing now 14-3. Took that opening drive some 9 minutes down the field. Were only able to come away with the field goal. I'm glad that they were able to score 3. Again, Theodore only took 10 seconds to score their first offensive touchdown. But so far, if you were to ask me, was the score 14-3, I would probably say no. It feels like more it's 7-3 in favor of the Bobcats. But again, the Hurricanes here in the eye of the storm have showed that they're going to have some gale force winds here yet to be determined.
Third and long, a little quick out, little screen pass. They try to get some yards picked up. Landon Weston goes nowhere. The Bobcats surround him, and that will push it to fourth down. And one last timeout called by Coach Eric Collier. He wants to leave some time on the clock, Corey, because he wants to get some points before they go into the locker room at halftime.
Yeah, we saw the dynamic ability of his punt returner, the Christian Porter, and also Jamarius Brown having great speed, and they got called for blocking in the back and holding earlier in the contest that negated the score, took a score off of the board for the Bobcats. So again, if you're the last punt for the Hurricanes probably only went 13 or 14 yards, which set up a very short field for the Theodore Bobcats. They took over at the 19-yard line of the Hurricanes and were able to find a way to punch it in and get 7 more points. 14-3 is where the Hurricanes would like to see this deficit stay.
Early scores coming in right there. Blunt on top of Baldwin County, 19-0. Faith Academy on top of Citronelle, 14-0. That's a big one. Both of those teams undefeated in 5A Region 1. McGill-Tulane over Mir Montgomery, 7-0 early in that contest. And Williamson on top, 21-0 right now. Beartech going to try it again, Corey. That one almost blocked. Did have a Bobcat in his face, and Porter is just going to fair catch that one. Good field position, ball at about the 44-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, that's the type of punt that you saw the Bobcats bring it all, trying to block and go all out and create points off special teams off of the block punt. Baratek, end over end, you saw that ball getting ready to bounce, but a fair catch called. The Bobcats take over on their side of the field, and what the Hurricanes need to make sure of here with 58.1 seconds remaining is the defensive backs don't let anything get behind them.
Ball officially placed at the 43-yard line of Theodore with 58.1 seconds remaining here in the first half.
Looks like a single high safety, Baratek, right in the middle of the field.
Play action, Moore gets it out to his receiver. That's not enough for the first down, nor does he get out of bounds, and Theodore's out of timeout, so they have to hurry up here and get the next play off.
It's not the 2-minute drill, it's the 58-second drill as the Bobcats are quickly lined up.
Second and about 5 here for Theodore. Quick out. Can the receiver get out of bounds? No, but he gets the first down. That will stop the clock momentarily and let the offense reset, and they can move the chains.
Nice catch by Raheem Quinney, 5'7", 155-pound sophomore. And then you can tell the Bobcats are doing a good job here. I want to see if they're going to go ahead and clock this football since they weren't able to get out of bounds with a fresh set of downs.
Moore looking, and there is New right on his tail, but Moore escapes, heads out of bounds. Flag does come in on the play, and a Bryant Hurricane has lost his helmet, looking a bit upset as well. So we'll get this one sorted out.
His helmet may have come off due to hands to the face in that
holding
situation.
Against Theodore, so that will push them back and negate that play.
You look at the replay, Gavin Moore being pushed out of the pocket on that play, and there's obviously the hold by Rogers there as he absolutely takes the helmet off of the Bryant defender.
I think it was Womack, Tyler Womack,
It was Tyler Womack, and that'll back him up. I want to see now if Theodore decides to go ahead and take this into the half here with 14 seconds remaining.
I wouldn't be surprised if they try to air it out, Corey. 14 seconds.
Can't let anything get behind you on a Hail Mary play right here before the end of the quarter. That would be devastating. You have the crowd in your favor. Theodore went ahead and deferred the coin toss.
Flag on the play. A lot of flags here in the second quarter of this contest. We'll get the call here from Gary Poole after they talk about it and sort it out.
.3 seconds remaining here in the second quarter, and so far so good in regards to the time elapsed. And looks like they may be asking for additional time on the clock, not quite sure.
The clock has 8.3 on it, and they're now putting 14 seconds on there, so I believe they wanted to get the clock aligned correctly. Second time that's happened tonight, Cora. That game clock has continued to run after stoppage and play.
Now you look at this formation again, the Bryant defenders have to make sure with 14 seconds remaining they don't let anything get behind them. Theodore throws the incomplete pass, bring up second down and 35.
Moore gets that one out, down on his knees with the reception to Christian Porter. Clock continues to run. I don't think they're going to get a play off here in enough time. I don't think they'll have enough time to even clock it, Corey.
I think that's going to be the quarter.
As you hear the whistles coming in, so that's going to be end of the first quarter with Theodore on top 14-3. Interesting second quarter. First quarter started off with a lot of ball control by Bryant, quick hit from Theodore, and then that second quarter, Corey, it was kind of all over the place tonight.
Yeah, a lot of penalties in the second quarter, but again, the time elapsed in the first quarter, some 9 minutes of domination by this offense of the Bryant Hurricanes.
Right.
They were up 7-3 here at the end of the first quarter. Now looking at 14-3. I think Bryant, they're going to go in with a lot of momentum, knowing that, hey, we were knocking on the door, having an opportunity to punch that ball in the end zone at the 3-yard line. We shot ourselves in the foot with a penalty that backed us up, led to a field goal. If you're Coach Collier on the other side for the Theodore Bobcats, you're worried about the execution part by your team. You can't do anything about the ball control besides get them off of the field and not allow them to dominate the line of scrimmage. But so far, the Hurricanes have done a wonderful job here in the first half.
Let's go down to the sidelines, check in with Kimberly Dunn.
Coach, how do you feel about your team's performance so far tonight?
Bryant came in, had a good plan offensively. They come in, put a good drive together the first drive. Coach Haynes did a good job with them. We come in, second drive adjusted. We're playing okay. It's just, we've had opportunities. We ain't took advantage of it, and that's frustrating.
So what does your team need to do coming into the second half to fix those things and adjust and pull off the win tonight?
Well, the big thing is this. I think we've adjusted now. I think we're fine. Now we just got to go out and make a few plays. Our kids will. I'm not worried about that. I just want us to come out here and play clean, execute, and be able to run the football. We ain't running the ball like we usually do, so hopefully we can do that.
All right, Coach, I'll let you get with your team. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kendall. We appreciate that. He touched on something I said, Corey. They haven't run as much as I thought they would have tonight.
I mean, you look at the rushing yards, only 30 total rushing yards for the Theodore Bobcats. That's not the standard. 94 passing yards, 124 total yards. You look at the Hurricanes on the other side, 72 rushing yards, 19 passing yards, 91 total yards. Al, so far no turnovers by either team.
All right, we'll be back with halftime action here inside the eye. Theodore's on top 14-3. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
My name is Harshini. I'm a junior at Davidson High School, and after graduation, I plan on pursuing a career in dermatology. Currently, I'm taking science classes such as AP Chemistry, Biology, and Human Anatomy, which will help me pursue my career. I feel as though Mobile County is preparing me for my career choice in that they provide rigorous classes that help me think further beyond just what I'm learning. I'm Harshini Cannon, a junior at Davidson High School, and I'm learning today so I can be a leader tomorrow.
Hi, I'm Todd.
And I'm Terry, and we'd like to invite you to join us as we take a look at nature in ways that you've never seen before.
Come travel with us as we go coast to coast to uncover some of the most interesting animals.
And some of the most beautiful scenery that's offered outdoors.
You can join us on our nature adventures right here on the MCPSS TV network.
Let's take it down to the field and check in with the Theodore Marching Bobcat Band. It is halftime here at the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Theodore on top 14-3 over Bryant. Right here at the Mobile County Public Schools, we're getting kids ready, getting them prepared for the 21st century. At Mobile County Public Schools, we are learning today and leading tomorrow.
Why Mobile County Public Schools? We can tell you a multitude of reasons, but we'd rather show you. We're producing college and career-ready graduates equipped to compete and excel in a global economy.
We're doing it by providing rigorous, relevant instruction that challenges students to not only learn facts and equations, but to think critically and globally. We're doing this by providing multiple pathways to college and career readiness, such as our 12 signature academies that focus on specific career fields in demand in the Mobile area.
We're doing it by hiring and supporting quality teachers, administrators, and support personnel, and providing them with the tools to succeed, both in terms of technology and professional development.
With 88 schools and about 54,000 students, more than 7,200 employees, we are Alabama's largest public school system.
We have 13 national Blue Ribbon schools, 7 magnet schools, 4 schools with IB designations, a year-round school at Bondi Elementary, and more than 60 classrooms that offer Alabama's award-winning first-class pre-K program.
We're giving our elementary students a solid foundation through robotics and other STEM programs, project-based learning, makerspace collaboration labs, the PACE program for gifted students, and numerous other initiatives. Several of our elementary schools are demonstration sites for Talents Unlimited.
Innovative high school programs such as University of Alabama Early College at Murphy, the Cambridge program at Alma Bryant, and the AP Capstone at Baker give our students a head start towards college, along with a variety of advanced placement and dual enrollment opportunities at our high schools.
Our students earn more than 15,000 career credentials and were offered $159 million in scholarships in 2019. We have raised our graduation rate to 86%.
But we're determined to do more. We get up every day ready to give 110% to ensure that we're producing well-rounded students and graduates who are ready to meet the challenges of the 21st century. And we're going to do just that.
In Mobile County Public Schools, we are learning today, leading tomorrow.
It is time for the halftime Chick-fil-A Trivia Challenge. Let's toss it over to Kimberly Dunn. What's up, Kim?
All right, we are here with our Chick-fil-A Halftime Trivia Challenge, and I had to find someone smart tonight because this is a tough question, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so this is Buford Carter. You're 8 years old, and you're in the 3rd grade at Dixon Elementary School, right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you told me you want to be something super cool when you grow up. What do you want to be when you grow up?
A professional soccer player.
A professional soccer player. I wish I could be that athletic. That's awesome. I hope that you reach that goal. Are you ready for your question?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Since becoming its own territory, how many capitals has Alabama had? Okay, and it's multiple choice, so it's either 1, 3, 5, or 6. Now, I have to tell y'all, he was getting some help from some family down there just a second ago, so we'll see if they gave him the correct answer. How many capitals do you think there have been?
5.
That's right, there have been 5. I would have never got this question right. There has been St. Stephen's, Huntsville, Cahaba, Tuscaloosa, and Montgomery. So I'm going to show you what you win tonight. Are you ready? This Chick-fil-A prize pack. You have some awesome shades. You got to always look cool, day or night. A cup and some bracelets in there. It looks like you can wear those tonight. That's from the Mobile County Public School Systems. Yes, you get the whole bag, okay? And this awesome koozie, it's got to keep your drink nice and cool. And what he's most excited about, some Chick-fil-A gift cards. Who are you going to take with you to eat some Chick-fil-A?
From the album Back in Black.
Maybe whoever gave you the answer.
Maybe. That was probably many people.
Too many people to share with. All right.
First they said 3, then it was 5, and I was like all confused. So I just took 5.
Yeah, that was a good choice. Well, congratulations, man. Thank you so much for answering our Chick-fil-A trivia question.
Great job, Buford. We appreciate that. Good job, buddy. Let's take it down to the field and check in with the Alma Bryant Hurricanes marching band.
Mike Kelly set you in the mood for this power ballad single from 1973 by Aerosmith. Dream On. Listen to this 1980 hit by Journey that features the Hurricane Drumline. It was the opening track of the Departure album. Enjoy the band performing Any Way You Want It. The closing tune of this year's rock show debuted in 1981 on Journey's album Escape. This is Don't Stop Believin'.
Thank you.
the Mighty Hurricanes Marching Band. Your flag captains are Rachel Sapp, co-captain.
And that was the sound of the Mighty Hurricanes Marching Band from Bryant. Great job from them. We'll be back and talk about first half stats and some second half adjustments coming up for the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. We welcome you back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Almost about to wrap up halftime inside the I with Theodore on top 14-3. I'm Al Wheaton, joined by Corey LeBounty atop the press box here in Irvington, Alabama. Corey, great night, great weather. Interesting first half, interesting first quarter, and then a really interesting second quarter.
Yeah, I mean, if you're Coach Haynes for the Hurricanes, you were really impressed by the effort of your team in the first quarter. You couldn't have dialed up and planned a better offensive script than his Hurricanes had. It taken off some 9 minutes in the first quarter on that drive, getting down to the 3-yard line, coming away with 3 points on the board. If you're Eric Collier, you have to light that fire because you control you. I mentioned you have to sustain and maintain. Yes, they have sustained the lead and maintained the lead here in the second quarter. The second half of action really needs to be cleaned up, as Coach Eric Collier mentioned. He wants his team to eliminate a lot of the penalties. He wants them to play a much more crisp game because he feels that this game was a little bit too close for his comfort. And the longer you let the Hurricanes linger around, then the more problems can be created. And that's a credit to Coach Doug Hayne and his staff and his guys not really giving up at all, coming out with a wonderful game plan and executing their game plan right here on their home field in this critical 7A Region 1
Take
matchup.
a look at those stats if we can get them up here, Corey. I know you talked about them just before the halftime started, but stats right here for the first half. We can kind of do a little recap right there.
Yeah, you look at the rushing yards by the Bryant Hurricanes, and that's what's shocking because Coach Collier, he wants to run to set up the pass, not vice versa. 94 passing yards by the Bobcats as opposed to 19 for the Hurricanes. You look at the total yardage, the Bobcats are leading 124-91. Neither team has turned the football over. Both penalties on both teams are equal on both sides of the football. But again, Theodore with the 14-3 lead. And if we turned around and we looked at the checklist situation, guys, the checklist is very important because it actually goes ahead and emphasizes what these coaches and these teams talked to me about all week long. You look at the Theodore checklist, they wanted to establish the run, and they have not been able to do that yet. Only 30 rushing yards so far. So here in the second half, it'll be interesting to see when China gives us our stats at the end of the fourth quarter, exactly how many more rushing yards they'll have here in the second half. Theodore takeaways, well, they have not been able to turn over the Hurricanes yet, Al, and that's due to the Hurricanes' value and taking care of that football. You look at how high and tight all the ball carriers are running with the football and how they're running with the football. They're making sure that they secure that and don't turn it over or throw interceptions, for that matter of fact, and create. You look at maintaining success and momentum. Well, again, momentum favors the Bobcats because you look at the scoreboard and it's ultimately 14-3 in favor of Theodore. For Bryant, they definitely have done the first thing on my checklist and controlled the clock. Time of possession, established down and distance. And again, when you knock inside that red zone area, if you're the Hurricanes, you have to put 6 on the board instead of 3.
You got to.
And that's going to be critical. Also, minimizing mental miscues. They've had a couple of penalties that have been costly. Again, they were at the 3-yard line and weren't able to punch it in. And again, created a line of scrimmage storm. What category storm will it be in the second half? Yet to come.
Speaking of that storm, let's take it down to the sidelines. Kimberly Dunn is with Coach Doug Hayne.
Coach, what was the atmosphere like in the locker room during halftime?
Our kids are positive. We had a good week of practice. They're playing really hard. I think they're playing physical. We had we didn't have no turnovers, a couple penalties, but the penalties hurt us. I felt like we left a touchdown on the field. We had to kick the field goal because we got that penalty down there. And then later on, right before half, we got the penalty on our punt. They gave them the ball down there short. And besides that, though, I think our kids are playing extremely well against a very good football team.
Yeah, so what are some things that y'all need to fix coming into this second half that's going to help you pull off that win tonight?
Well, we just need to keep playing hard. We're playing hard. We need to take care of the football. That's always a concern. And we need to make sure that we don't push ourselves back with penalties.
All right, Coach, thank you so much. Good luck to y'all tonight.
Thank you very much.
All right, Kim, I appreciate that. We're going to take a break and come back with the second half kickoff. Theodore will be receiving the ball for the second half of the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Don't look.
Want to find out which Mobile County High School is right for you? Join us on Tuesday, September 24th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the USA Mitchell Center for our Signature Academy Showcase. The event is open to all 7th and 8th graders and parents. Representatives from all 12 high schools will be on hand to talk about our academies. Whether it's aviation, engineering, or healthcare, there's hundreds of career options to choose from. So join us on Tuesday, September 24th for our Signature Academy Showcase. At Mobile County Public Schools, we are learning today, leading tomorrow.
When it comes to getting your child through school, at times it can be overwhelming.
What school to choose, what classes to take, how to apply for college.
To help answer these questions and more, we would like to invite you to join us on Parent Connect as we take an in-depth look at some of the issues and concerns you may have about your child's education.
So get connected with Parent Connect, weekly right here on the MCPSS TV network.
We welcome you back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Al Wheaton, Corey LeBounty, Kimberly Dunn down on the sidelines. In the truck, we got executive producer Quentin Howard and director Wade Ford handling the stats. China Powell, and we're getting China Powell, and we're getting ready for the second half. Corey, something Coach Doug Hain talked about on the sidelines with Kimberly. They definitely talked about running, but those miscues, and you alluded to it, when you start off the first series and you drive 70 yards down the field almost to the goal line and only come away with 3, that's huge for a team that's ranked number 6 in the state. To put up a touchdown right there would have been a big impact here inside the eye.
Couldn't agree with you more, Al. The difference between this year's Theodore Bobcat team and last year's Theodore Bobcat team is this year's team has been there before. They are the defending 7A Region 1 champions, and Coach Collier is expecting this team to learn and know how to finish games. They were able to do that 1 year ago, and he's hoping that this Bobcat team, who has a 4-0 record so far to begin this season, can go ahead and maintain and sustain the type of momentum being there and growing from a year ago. You look at the number of seniors, 22 seniors on this Theodore Bobcat roster of 85. Only 11 seniors for Coach Doug Hain, and that's something to really build off of next year and for the rest of this year, and getting valuable reps are a lot of these players that are playing for Bryant.
And you can see that because the majority of the seniors for Bryant are on the defense, where they're a bit more stronger with a lot of the younger players on the offense. Sid Johnson, he's a senior. We've covered him a couple years, but that offense is pretty young for Bryant, and you can kind of tell it. But that's why I said an opportunity like that, you have to capitalize when you get that close to the goal line.
Tanner Ewan, the 5'10" sophomore quarterback, is in his first year of high school football.
Jamarius Brown picks it up off the ground eventually and gets it up to about the 44-yard line, where Theodore would take over with their first possession of the second half. I was a bit surprised Bryant didn't run the ball a bit more in that second quarter, Corey, after establishing that big time clock pickup they picked up in the first quarter. But we will see if that second half adjustment comes to life for Coach Doug Hain and the Hurricanes, as the Bobcats now open up on offense, the ball at their own 44-yard line as we start the second quarter here inside the eye.
Have to make sure the secondary stays solid for the Hurricanes.
Flanagan lined up in a tight end position right there, making room for Kirsten Rogers, and Rogers continuing to keep those legs turning up to about the 49-yard line with about a 5-yard carry.
Womack, the 6', 210-pound middle linebacker on the stop for the Hurricanes, but not before you see Rogers really grind it out. I'll tell you what I did like. You saw maybe 4 or 5 Hurricanes in the backfield, weren't able to kind of get to the left or the right and shed the blocker. There's a mammoth offensive line that they're trying to go ahead and use their hands and get the type of leverage that they want on the defensive line. They're just 1 or 2 inches away from making a huge stop in the backfield.
Theodore spreading it out and keeping it as Gavin Moore, the senior quarterback, almost had the first down, but he is wrapped up and tackled. Landon Weston brings him down about a yard short, so it'll be 3rd and short here for the Bobcats.
Weston does an outstanding job of making an open field tackle on a nice RPO by Gavin Moore. If he would have handed that ball off to his back, Rogers, there would have been a loss in the backfield. Now 3rd down and 1 yard to go. The Hurricane crowd is going to come up huge on this play.
I could see that one from atop the press box. Going to be a quarterback keeper. And I think Moore may have given it away, but I think they may give him enough yardage here, Corbett, forward progress to pick up the first down. Gary Poole's going to stop the clock for a second, and he does make the signal. So Moore has enough on the quarterback keeper. First down for Theodore.
Fresh set of downs for this Theodore Bobcat offense, being led by offensive coordinator Justin Ridgway. Again, right on average, averaging 29 points per game. If this score holds up, touchdown per quarter, they'll be right at 28 points. I can do that quick math, Al. I tell you what, but the Theodore Bobcats in this situation want to capitalize and try to demoralize this defense of the Hurricanes.
Play action here, and Moore is sacked and brought down by the Hurricanes, putting him in the eye of the storm right at the flags at midfield.
Landry Huddleston comes away with his 3rd solo tackle of the season, a tackle for loss, quarterback sack. Great job of attacking the quarterback. Also on the play, Landon Weston in on the stop for the Hurricanes. Puts now the Bobcats at a difficult 2nd down and 18 yards to go.
Moore waiting for the snap. DeChristian Porter in motion on the jet sweep. He takes it around the edge. Gets back to the original line of scrimmage and now picking up some extra yards. So great run right there on the jet sweep from DeChristian Porter. It'll take Theodore to about 2nd and 5 here.
You see the speed of Porter breaking the containment on that left defensive side of the football for the Hurricanes. Now it looks like it's going to bring up 3rd down and probably a long 6 yards to go.
I'm sorry, 3rd down. You're right, Corey, not 2nd down. Trips receivers to the bottom of the screen. They hand it off to Kirsten Rogers, and boom, but no, the RPO keeper by Gavin Moore. Around the edge he goes, gets close to about the 20-yard line, but there is a flag on the far side of the field.
And I'm hoping we're able to bring a replay up on this, folks. I want you to see how Franklin New absolutely swallows running back Kirsten Rogers. It was a run-pass option. You look at the quarterback, Gavin Moore, being able to keep the football in that situation, but his running back, if he would have got that football, I guarantee there would have been a scoop and score situation. Absolutely annihilated was Rogers on this play, and you look at him, he's down on the ground as we're following the ball carrier, Gavin Moore, but what a hit. New let you know he's in the neighborhood.
Oh, yeah.
Here in the eye of the storm.
Officials still sorting this one out. Do a little quick scoring recap. 26-yard field goal from Landry Huddleston for Bryant, put them on top 3-0. Then the first play from scrimmage in the first quarter for Theodore, a lateral pass from DeChristian Porter to Jamarius Brown for 34 yards, put Theodore on top 7-3. Here's that replay right there.
Look at
boom,
that.
And
Wow.
Rogers is lit up by New. Wow.
Great camera work by our crew.
Wow.
Zooming in and really seeing and bringing it to life. You see the leverage and the power by the 6'2", 236-pound senior who has offers from Southern Miss and Navy and just textbook style tackle. Unfortunately, Rogers didn't have the football.
So unsportsmanlike penalty against the Hurricanes. So that'll add another 15 to that big run from Gavin Moore. And it looks like they're going to spot this ball at about the about the 5 or 6 yard line, Corey. I believe, yeah, about the 5 yard line. So it'll be 1st and goal for Theodore after we sort this out, because Bryant has called a timeout. I'll pick back up on the scoring summary. So yeah, Coach Doug Haynes called timeout. Then in the second quarter, we had a 5-yard run from Kirsten Rogers, and that extended Theodore's lead to 14-3. Got to thank our folks at Future Ones for taking care of us with the gear tonight. And you can get dressed up in gear, whether it be from baseball to wrestling, all sports in between. Just make sure you wear the future with Future Ones. And also a big shout out to Firehouse Subs, but most importantly, the crew at Greenlight Road, Jim and Susie Sherman, taking care of us with the eats tonight. Enjoy more subs and save more lives with Firehouse Subs. And Corey, I have to say, the subs were right on time tonight. The weather was cool. It was perfect to sit down and just have a little Firehouse before the game kicked off tonight, Corey.
Doesn't get any better, and I mean, I know I enjoyed it. The crew definitely enjoyed it, so I want to thank them very much for feeding us and taking care of us each and every week here on the MCPSS Television Network.
Yeah, you're right about that, Firehouse Sub. So Coach Haynes, as you can see right there, talking to his kids, wanting them to stay focused. That was a big run by Moore, but then an unsportsmanlike penalty on one of the Hurricanes. That tacks 15 on top, and Theodore is sitting right where they want to be, Corey, to extend this lead and keep going. They received the ball here first in the second half, so I'm sure Coach Collier, they want to get on the board right quick here and continue to extend points on top of Bryant.
Yeah, that's a situation to where, you know, you want to eliminate those middle miscues. That's a huge middle miscue.
Yeah.
You don't want to give the Bobcats any free yardage, especially right here in the red zone area. And now the Bobcats, they're trying to establish that line of scrimmage, give themselves a little confidence here. Last time down, you had Kirsten Rogers able to punch this football in. We'll see if Kevin Dennis, Colby Cowles, Cole Payne, Michael Payton, and Desmond Ford are able to push and control this line of scrimmage here inside the red zone.
First and goal here for the Bobcats. Flags on the play.
Flag on the play.
False start. We could all see that one, Corey.
The tight end, Corbin Johnston, his 6'4", 182-pound frame, got a little bit antsy in that goal line situation. Now we're going to be right at the 10-yard line instead of the 5-yard line, and that opens up the passing game a little bit. But with this powerful and massive offensive line, it's up for them to control the line of scrimmage, and that's what I'm keeping an eye on right here.
That line averaging 256 across the front. Moore decides to keep it, can't connect with anyone. Flag comes in on the play. He runs it in for 10 yards, but the flag is down where an area that we believe is possibly holding. Then another flag comes in, Corey, late after the play and the whistle blown.
And it'll be interesting to see if it's going to be a dead ball personal foul called against the Bobcats.
Right.
I saw Tyler Womack be quite happy. Definitely a personal foul, I do believe, that's going to be called after the whistle blew. And if that's against the Bobcats, which I know it will be, you go from knocking on the door at the 5-yard line to possibly being at the 20.
Because they were at the 10. Line of scrimmage is at the 10 right now. So 2 flags came in, Corey, but they are signaling holding against Theodore, of course, which is pushing them back.
Well, whatever you look at, it's a situation to where it's going to be first down and goal to go.
And then the personal foul against Theodore, so that's why they keep walking. Wow.
You going first and goal from the 5 all the way out to the 43-yard line. Now, if you're the Hurricanes, you don't want to give up anything behind you. And if you are going to commit a pass interference call, go ahead and earn your money. Don't get beat over the top. As we saw probably a pass interference call when they scored their touchdown early that you probably could have been called for. It wouldn't have been a spot foul. It just would have been an opportunity to advance it. But now, first down and goal to go from the 43-yard line.
43, Corey. As the Bobcats look over to the sideline and get the call in from offense coordinator Justin Ridgway, and a flag comes in again.
And if the Bobcats are continuing to go backwards, first and goal
False
now
start
from the 48.
I can't recall me ever saying, Corey, a first and goal from the 53. Not from the 53, but about
48.
Almost 48 yards out. Yeah, 48 yards away. Wow, I can't ever recall hearing or saying that before.
Not a first and goal situation. I've seen 2nd and 48, 2nd and 49.
This is first and goal and ball at the 48-yard line. Gavin Moore passes, does get it complete to D. Christian Porter, and he picks up a big chunk of that. Gets to about the 26-yard line.
But you'll take that. I mean, if you're the Hurricanes, because now they have to get another 20, and when they do that, it's a situation to where the Bobcats are happy that they're able to pick up positive yards, but it's going to be a second down and goal to go.
Ball at about the 26-yard line. It's almost as if Alma Bryant is playing prevent defense here, Cora.
Don't let anything get behind
Going
you.
over the top to Christian Porter again. That pass incomplete. A lot of touching going on there. They let him play, so no flags come in. 3rd and goal.
I like the defense by Aiden Adams, the 5'11", 155-pound junior, just with great one-on-one defense. Didn't have any help, and if it did get there, it was going to be a little bit late to push the offensive wide receiver out of bounds. But now you're looking at 3rd down and goal to go from the 26-yard line of the Hurricanes.
Things are definitely heating up here in the I in Irvington, Alabama. Al Wheaton, Corley Bounty, Kimberly Dunn on the scene for the battle of South Mobile County. Theodore and Bryant. Low snap to Moore. They're trying to set a screen up. They can't get it to anyone, so he's just going to have to eat it, but he fumbles it, Corey. Chasing him down for, looks like, was that Franklin New? No, not Franklin New chasing him down, but that fumble comes out, but he lands on top of it. Wow, that could have spelled some disaster. Devin Rogers chasing him down there.
Yeah, another flag on the play, and it's a situation to where it looks like on that far sideline, close to the 20-yard line.
Outside the field of play, Corey? I believe it is.
It's got to be a holding when it's
I literally think it's outside the field of play, but way on the far side. But Moore was running to the near side near us. So whatever happened, we'll get the call here from Gary Poole as he's coming to discuss it with Coach Doug Hain.
Well, you're still looking at a situation to where it was 3rd down and goal to go. And we're going to have an instant replay. It did occur over on that far sideline. And there it is on that far side at the top of your screen. It's going to be declined.
It was a sideline warning against Theodore, and the penalty was declined. So it's 3rd and goal as the ball sits right there at the 29-yard line.
Again, Bryant just has to make sure they don't
allow now it is 4th down.
Behind them.
4th and goal. Ball on the 29-yard line of Bryant.
Timeout Bobcats.
And Coach Eric Collier has called a timeout at 7:31 remaining here in the 3rd quarter. Corey, interesting first series here for Theodore.
Yeah, I mean, you're starting to drive down the field. You're knocking on the door, and all of a sudden you get down to the 5-yard line, and next thing you know, you're looking at 1st down and 43 yards to go. 1st and goal from the 43-yard line. I think I've only seen that one other time in collegiate football. I don't think I've ever seen it in high school football, but what play do you design up? You just want to get chinks and chunks of that yardage back. You're not going to be able to get it back in all one down, and I think that's what Theodore's up against right here.
Let's take it down to the sidelines and check in with Kimberly.
We started this football game with, I felt in the first quarter, a pretty clean game, but since coming back into the second half, we've been seeing a lot of that dirty laundry on the field. And I think what I'm feeling here on the sidelines is just a lot of the tension between these two rival teams. They're both wanting to get ahead, to make progress, and to win this football game. And so it's causing a lot of that laundry to be thrown on the field. So hopefully they can clean it up so that one of these teams can make positive progress tonight.
Thank you, Kimberly. You're right about that. The Hurricanes on the field jumping up and down, encouraging their fans to get on their feet. Great turnout here for the Battle of South Mobile County for the Hurricanes fans and the Bobcats fans. Both stands pretty packed here. So 4th and goal as Moore airs it out, trying to connect with his receiver. Flag comes in. He was trying to get that to Jamarius Brown.
And you'll take that pass interference call. It's going to be pass interference called against the Hurricanes without question. You just have to look at the situation as where that will spot the football for the Theodore Bobcats as you take a look at the replay. And You look at Gavin Moore dropping back, and he knew exactly where he wanted to go with that.
Here it is right there.
And you look in coverage for the Canes, Sheldon Cannon, the 5'10", 148-pound junior.
And there's the call from Gary Poole, so pass interference. It still will remain 4th down.
It'll be 4th down again.
Another 4th and goal,
yeah,
just
now,
closer.
but you're at the 15-yard line, whereas you were at the 43-yard line. So now you're close to knocking back as to where you began this drive. Again, the Hurricanes don't need to let anything get behind them, no matter if they have to communicate defensively and make sure Theodore does not run any great crossing routes to confuse the defenders.
Trips at the top of the screen with DeChristian Porter at the bottom by himself. Moore has a lot of room. He guns it up the middle, and Jamarius Brown catches it. And Corey, for the first time, I've never seen it, 4th and 48, which was actually 4th and goal. And that is a touchdown by the Theodore Bobcats.
Well, again, they just needed to pick up chunks of yardage at a time. The secondary had to rise to the occasion. They decided to go into single coverage. An outstanding route being run by Demetrius Bowie, the 6', 177-pound senior on the play, I do believe. Or that was Jamarius Brown.
Jamarius
the 6',
Brown.
168-pound senior on the play. The point after is good.
That's
so
right.
you look down at 1st down and 43 yards to go. 1st and goal from the 43, no problem.
We'll be back with more action. You're watching the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
From birth up until school age, you know, he was a fast developer, fast learner. He was always a happy person. Every time you seen him, he had a smile on his face. The day I lost my son, I got that phone call. It was like my whole world just stopped. All I wanted to do was see my son, and I wasn't able to see my son until I had to go to the funeral homes. I think that was one of the hardest things that a parent has to do.
We are back here at the eye for the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. A completion from Gavin Moore to Jairus Brown. Corey, unbelievable, from 1st and goal to 1st and goal and 48 with some penalties and a big run by Moore. The Bobcats end up scoring on a 15-yard pass. Wow, 21-3.
Very impressive by the Theodore Bobcats. But, again, if you're the Hurricanes, that's just kind of demoralizing. I mean, you had a Category 5 storm brewing, and then all of a sudden it turns not only into a tropical storm, but just a couple of raindrops.
Wow.
Because, again, now you're trailing 21-3, and it looks like because of the penalty on the point after.
On the PAT, right,
now
against Bryant.
Theodore will be kicking off from the 45-yard line of the Hurricanes.
So you can see the frustration building in on the Hurricane sideline, occurring a penalty there being kicked off right here at the ball. They're on 45-yard line, and Ferris just puts his foot into it. It does go out of bounds.
That's the worst thing.
Surprised they didn't just kick it up the middle. So Bryant's going to take over right here. Theodore comes into the ball game tonight on a 4-game winning streak. The last time they won 4 games in a row wasn't too long ago. It was last season. They ran off 6 in a row, but Corey, those were all region wins, and that helped boost them up to the region championship last year.
And you look at senior outside linebacker Demoy Kennedy, who is verbally committed to the University of Alabama. He had a 40-yard interception return for a touchdown a week ago, but doesn't look like he's going to need any defensive heroics tonight by himself. I just want to give a shout out to Eric Collier and the wonderful job that he's doing at Theodore High School, continuing to produce great student athletes. I turn on my television on Saturdays and I see at UTC, I see Cam Brown. I turn to Louisiana Lafayette or Louisiana University and I see Tamaje Porter. He's going to take on Big Ankerson, who is the center for South Alabama here in a couple weeks.
Right.
I see LaMichael Pirine at Florida. I also see Sean Schamberger, the cornerback at Tennessee. So a lot of great former players here that played football for Eric Collier on Friday nights, doing bigger and better things post-secondary education from the MCPSS school system. So credit to everyone here, Principal Chip Minton, Eric Collier doing a wonderful job making sure these student athletes are prepared for football outside of these lines.
So it looks like Coach Hain is going to make Theodore kick this ball again, push him back to the midfield stripe at the 50. 5-yard penalty with that ball going out of bounds. So Farish will get the tee it up. I wonder if special teams coach Kendall Gibson talked to him about just kick it up the middle this time, young man. Just don't kick it out of bounds. Just kick it up the middle.
You want to keep the ball in play. That's the biggest thing that you want to make sure that you're doing. And if you're not doing that, then you're in trouble because you back up 5 yards. You just want to make sure that you keep this football in play.
Score 21-3 right here. 7:15 remaining in the third quarter for the Battle of South Mobile County. And Farish puts his foot into that one. Nice kickoff. And the Hurricanes bringing it up. Flags coming in. Corey, flags have just littered this ball game since the second quarter as we're midway through about the third quarter right here.
It's going to be called against the Hurricanes.
That one going against Alma Bryant. Not the way Coach Hain was liking it. We do have an injured player down for Bryant. See if we can get a number there. Looks like it's Sid Johnson. He gets up. And comes over to the sideline while they walk the penalty off here. Assess it off.
That would be big time if it is Sid Johnson because he has been the guy who's been able, besides the fullback, Dylan Purcell, those have been the two main offensive weapons. But again, I can't emphasize enough that Tanner Ewing, the 5'10", 152-pound sophomore, is in his first year of high school football.
Wow.
First year.
Unbelievable.
Doing a wonderful job trying to orchestrate this Bryant offense, considering this is his first year of high school football.
So Johnson back in the game, takes the carry, weaving his way to pick up maybe 1 or 2 on that carry and takes Bryant to second down.
A couple of positive yards gained on that play. 3 yards, as a matter of fact, as that's a tough run by Sid Johnson. Brings up second down and 7 yards to go.
Bryant breaking the backfield at their own 12-yard line here for second down.
And there's an official timeout on the field.
It looks as if play has been stopped. And now we are signaled to start play from Gary Poole. Handoff to the up back. And I believe Johnson was in motion as that play started, Corey. And there's the call from Gary Poole, illegal motion against Bryant. That pushes them back again. And we'll have a replay for second down.
Yeah, that's just a tough break for the Hurricanes. When you're trailing 21-3, you want to continue to stay focused mentally and not do anything to cost your team one way or the other. Especially when you're inside your own territory, you can't afford to have any penalties.
And you can see the Bobcats just licking their chops, Corey. They're ready for some type of scoop, a score, interception, or some kind of fumble or something to jump on top of it as they are just waiting to capitalize. So it'll be third down here. Third down at about 5 for the Hurricanes as they break the huddle. Scoreboard says 2nd and 7, but the down marker says third down. And we've had another stoppage in play. Timeout by Theodore. So, Corey, they're going to take a break at the 6:19 mark. And we'll take a look at the standings. Get those up here for you. Our region standings for a Region 1. Scambia UMS right there, undefeated. UMS Wright defeated Williamson last week. That was a Thursday night game, so both of those teams still undefeated on top of 4A Region 1. Let's take it up to 5A Region 1. A lot of big contests going on tonight. Citronelle and Faith Academy playing, and Jackson and Viger playing. Both of those teams undefeated in region play, actually all 4 of them. So 2 big contests taking place. That game over in Pritchard with Jackson and Viger, and Central is playing at Faith tonight. Move it up to 6A Region 1. one of the most competitive regions in the state. We saw the score for Blount on top of Baldwin County earlier, 14-0. And as you can see right there, Saraland on top of the region. They're ranked number 1 in the state, still number 1. Bump it up to 7A Region 1, our local standings here. And of course, the team we have here tonight, Theodore, ranked in the state as well, and on top of the region at 3-0. McGill too, I believe, in MGM playing tonight over at Lipscomb Field tonight, Cora.
Yeah, here's some score update. Spanish Fort leading BC Rain 42-0 in the third quarter. Jackson still over Vigor 7-0 in the third quarter. Faith Academy over Central 21-0 in the fourth quarter. Blount leading Baldwin County 25-0 in the third quarter. And some other scores will be coming after this play. As you mentioned, McGill-Tulin leading MGM 35-0 in the third quarter also.
Lipscomb Field there.
Baker leading Foley 24-0 in the third quarter. UMS Wright leading Clark County 24-0. Fairhope leading Davidson 7-3 in the third quarter.
So now the down marker has been adjusted to second down. I thought it was second down after that penalty because the scoreboard said second, and it was a penalty for illegal motion against Bryant. So we will eventually get this play off here, Corey. It'll be second and about 5. They're calling it 2nd and 7 here inside the eye, but it looks about 5 yards to me, but they want to tack another extra 2 on the numbers. That's up to them.
It's a situation, Doug Hain, discussion with our white hat Gary Poole, just getting clarification on down and distance. Not happy at all, but second down, it looks like they're going to back it up to make it second down and 15 yards to go, as the 10-yard penalty has now been walked off.
So now they've
and
assessed it. Now that would make sense because the yardage marker was about 5 yards out.
Second down, Princeton, the Revolution. Raspberry Beret. Let's go, Hurricane!
I think we're finally ready for play here after they've marked this penalty off. Power I formation for the Hurricanes, handing it off up the middle for Johnson, and Corey, he runs into a wall of those Bobcats, maybe 1 yard on the game.
You look at the amount of that wall. Tyree Farr and Reggie Malone leading the charge for the Bobcats. Third down and 12 yards to go now for the Hurricanes, deep in their own territory. The worst thing that can happen for Bryant right here is to turn the football over deep in their own territory, as this has been an extremely long third quarter of action.
5:40 remaining here in the third quarter. I believe at the next stop we'll have a heat timeout. That pass is tipped away by Jamarius Brown. Incomplete as they try to get it out to the receiver coming out the backfield. It'll be 4th down, and let's see if Gary Poole will signal for a heat timeout as we are under 6 minutes, but he does not, so maybe they'll let the punt go off and do it on the changeover.
Yeah, it's a situation now. Bryant, Landon Weston does not want this punt to get away from him. We've seen him have a shank punt earlier, so if you're the Hurricanes, you want to try to flip the field in some type of positive manner.
Looks like Sheldon Cannon on the punt there, number 24. And that one goes off the foot, and I believe they're going to down it. Corey, I believe at about the 8-yard line.
A second shank punt.
Second shank one. They switched up punters because Cam Baratek does the punting. And they brought in a different punter. We didn't have him on our depth chart. Had to go to my game roster. Sheldon Cannon, I believe.
If you're in a situation to where now you've had 2 shank punts, you can't drop your head. You have to play through this situation and really dig in defensively now, because now the Bobcats are starting their second possession here in your red zone territory. Just shanked it absolutely off the side of his foot, and because of it, the ball goes out of bounds right at the 10-yard line.
Steps out right there about the 9, I believe. Gavin Moore with the snap, hands it off to Kirsten Rogers, cuts back. Corey, look at him weaving into the end zone, virtually untouched. I know someone touched him, but the way he ran, and he just ran it so casually for 9 yards. That is Kirsten Rogers' second touchdown tonight.
Cut back in action. You look at that situation to where it was just great vision of Rogers seeing where he wanted to go, seeing that he would be able to cut back, and there were no Bryant defenders that were going to be in front of him, and he walks in standing up. 7 more if the extra point is good for the Bobcats.
Parrish puts it up. And Theodore extends their lead to 28-3. Let's take a look at that replay right there on the 9-yard run from Rogers.
Absolutely just one hand on him, and that's just a brisk touch. If they were playing flag football, he probably would have been down in that situation.
You're right, Corey.
He would have been able to grab his flag, but
I agree with you on that one.
Football weren't able to get away with the stop. 7 on the board.
We got a break in action right here. Let's take a look at the Alabama Sports Writers top 10 polls throughout the state. There's your 4A poll. UMS Wright still carrying the state's longest winning streak at 22 with their win over Williamson last week. Hillcrest Evergreen falls out of the top 10 with their loss to Escambia County. And the Blue Devils break into the top 10 at number 9. And you can see right there at the bottom, Williamson picking up 7 votes. Let's take it over to the 5A poll if we can get that one up here. But we may be able to, Corey, because the sprinklers have come on.
Yeah, somebody
But
forgot
we are
to
in the
turn them
eye
over.
of the storm.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about tropical storms. We talked about hurricane force winds. We talked about getting drenched, but they were able to cut off the sprinkler system very quickly.
5A poll. The top 5 all won last week, so no movement there. Pleasant Grove lost and drops 5 spots to number 10. And Viger, Citronelle, and Faith all picking up votes. Don't forget big games tonight in Pritchard with Viger hosting Jackson and Citronelle over at Faith. And see if we can get the 6A poll up right quick before the kickoff. 6A poll, top 3 remain the same. Clay Chalkville drops from 4 to 7 after a loss to number 2 Pinson Valley, and Blunt drops from 7 to 9 with that loss last week to St. Paul's. The Saints are still on the outside looking in with 15 votes in the poll, and I think we have time to get to 7A up right quick where the top 4 remain the same. Hewitt-Trustville lost to Hoover, drops to number 8, allowing Theodore, our team tonight, to move up 1 spot to number 6, and picking up 1 vote, Corey, down there at the bottom, the Murphy Panthers. Had a big win last week against MGM. That was our MCPSS game of the week last week. Hurricanes with a good run back up to about the 33-34 line. Aiden Adams. And the Hurricanes trying to get some positivity going right here. They are down 28-3.
Yeah, I mean, it's a situation to where you've had some great offensive drives to begin the first quarter. You know you are able to run the football against this Bobcat defense, but being able to run the football, taking time off the clock, is something that the Hurricanes wanted to do early, not late. You wanted to keep this game close and within striking distance, but with it being 28-3, passing coming from behind is not the strong suit. Giving the ball to Said is, and that's exactly what they were able to do on that possession.
We just came up for our state rankings, not a stat that Bryant likes to hear, but Bryant's record all-time against ranked 7A teams, Corey, is 0-12. And Theodore, as you just saw, ranked number 6 in the state.
You look at Theodore since 2000 being 25-1 when scoring 40 points or more. And the Theodore defense is 44-3 since 2000 when allowing 10 points or less.
Second and about 8. Handoff to Rogers once again. And the Bobcats fall down and collapse on him. Standing right there, Jamarius Brown coming up from his safety position. So it'll take Bryant to third down.
After the game tonight,
Alba 3-58 when scoring 10 points or less since 2000. So that number right there speaks volumes.
Right.
As at one point in time they were leading 3-0 here in the middle part of the first quarter. But you look at so far, Theodore has scored 28 unanswered points.
Just under 4 minutes remaining here in the third quarter. Ewing running, escapes the pocket, trying to get that across the middle. Looks like our first turnover of the night. Interception picked up by the Bobcats on the move, Keon Marion, but flags did come down as Ewing released that ball. Let's see if what this call is going to be.
And he got absolutely walloped after the play, and he's going to be a little bit slow trotting over to the sidelines. And I think the penalty is going to be against the Hurricanes. So not only will the interception be thrown, you look at Ewing again playing his first year probably would like to have that throw back, try to throw across his body, and because of it, the Theodore Bobcats were able to get their first turnover. Nice interception return by the secondary. Keon Martin comes away with the interception for Theodore, and now it's up to Mr. Gary Poole and his officiating staff to sort out where the penalty yards will be assessed after the interception. But again, you look at your quarterback Ewing being able to be hit on the return, not seeing it coming.
Oh, yeah, did not see it coming.
That's something that you want to try to stay away from as the quarterback.
So that holding penalty will be declined with the interception from Marion. Almost as if you could say, Corey, I believe it was third down, almost as if it was a long punt.
And a personal foul?
And a personal foul call.
Against the Bobcats.
So that'll take some of that yardage back, actually, with the ball being placed right now at the 42-yard line of Theodore.
And I'm not quite sure where that personal foul took place, Al.
I'm not sure either.
Nonetheless, the ball will be spotted at the Bobcat 42-yard line. And it has, as the first quarter went by extremely fast, here it is, the third quarter has taken almost some 30 minutes to play.
1st and 10, Gavin Moore out leading his Bobcats offense from their own 42-yard line. And he is sacked, brought down by Franklin New. Coming up in a little bit, we're going to put it out there, Corey, the game of the week, Brain Buster. I think I have a pretty good one for you tonight. I actually think you're probably going to get it, but we'll see. Coming up in a little bit, we'll give you that game of the week, Brain Buster.
And somebody who was trying to bust the brains of the quarterback, Gavin Moore, was the defensive end, Franklin New.
Yeah.
An outstanding sack on the play. 2nd down and 15 yards to go for the Bobcats.
RPO keeper for Moore, and boy, does he have some room. Picks up a nice 10 or 11-yard gain right there and gets Theodore out of the hole. It'll be 3rd down and about 7.
And what you're starting to see is a little bit of fatigue now by this defensive line as you start to see a lot of hands on hips from this front four of this Bryant defense. And you've asked them to do a lot. They've been on the field a lot. So anytime, Theodore, you can look for them to go ahead and start utilizing the run, the ground and pound. You get past the line of scrimmage.
Right.
The wide receivers hold their blocks in the secondary, and it's off to the races.
Moore throws that one out to Porter, incomplete. The way they had the receivers spread out with that formation, I thought they were going to probably run that one again, Cora.
Doug Hayne, again, credit to him and his coaching staff, doing a great job of the game plan coming in tonight, just trying to keep his guys only trailing 14-3 at halftime. And you look at the Theodore Bobcats being able to punch on here, 2 in here in the second quarter, opening up that lead to 28-3. But it's all about believing. It's all about just trying to get better, trying to create depth, trying to get those valuable reps, as the Hurricanes, again, only have 11 seniors on the roster.
If I recall, Corey, I think this may be Theodore's first punt tonight. Logan Murphy setting up for the return. There's a punt right there from Chandler Randall. Gets a nice little roll as it goes out of bounds. See if they'll mark it maybe about the 26, 27-yard line. I don't recall Theodore punting at all tonight.
Well, if you're scoring points and you're scoring on the first plays of games and you're controlling the line of scrimmage, we know that they came down and they converted on a goal line to go from the 48-yard line.
Right.
No need to bring out the punter, but I tell you what, here's what has to happen for the Hurricanes right here, Al. They can ill afford to go 3 and out. I'm looking forward to seeing how your quarterback, Tanner Ewing, is able to bounce back from that interception.
Hands it off to Johnson as he runs the line, try to pick a hole to go through, and there are none there because the Bobcats have sealed them all up, and that's going to be a loss of about 3 or 4 yards.
Great job of not giving up containment by the big defensive ends of the Theodore Bobcats, and you look at the pursuit that is being done by the Bobcats, and again, you have to be happy if your defensive coordinator, Ryan Little, with the pursuit, and You look at Jordan Bolden on the stop now for the Theodore Bobcats. Anytime you're able to bring in fresh bodies against this tired Hurricane offensive line, that's a plus.
2nd and 14 for the Hurricanes. A lot of movement on the line there on both sides of the ball. See what the call is going to be. So it'll be false start that will push the Hurricanes back 5 more yards.
Talk about playing clean, and Coach Collier talked about it going in to the half with Kimberly Dunn about wanting to play a clean second half.
Right.
So far his team has not been able to do that.
2nd and 19. Johnson goes nowhere as that defensive line plows him down for another loss. Takes the Hurricanes to 3rd down. Be 3rd and long here. Looking to the sideline for the call from offensive coordinator Wes Tidwell. So 3rd and long here for the Hurricanes. Backed up close to their own 10-yard line. Ball spotted at about the 13. And Ewing is sacked as the Bobcats wrap him up, Corey.
Good sack on the play as the defensive line.
And you just talked about them not going 3 and out, and it's as if you predicted it.
Yeah, I mean, just the pressure of the Theodore Bobcats.
Yeah.
Again, the depth starting to become a factor. Fatigue starting to become a factor here as we're finally getting ready to end this 3rd quarter of play. 35 seconds remaining, the clock still running. But we've seen 2 shanked punts by the Hurricanes. Let's see if he can put toe to leather here. They need one more player here. They're going to have to probably call timeout to stop this clock.
They're leaving Sheldon Cannon in to punt.
They only had 10 players on the field, so they had to burn a timeout.
Wow. Yeah, I believe that's 10. So they were short a guy. That would have not helped them at all, Corey, down 28-3 with 10 players on the field.
And that's just a mental miscue that we talked about. You're trailing 28-3. You're kind of fearing shanking this punt away, as we've seen a couple of shank punts by Sheldon Cannon. And you just have to shake that off and kind of play through that situation and try to find a way to do toe to leather, get the ball going end over end. But if it is some type of punt that is able to be caught off of the bounce, you'll see a big time and explosive return by this Theodore Bobcat offense special teams.
Cannon in his end zone for the 2nd time tonight. About to punt this ball. Jamarius Brown and DeChristian Porter setting up at about the 35-yard line to receive the punt here from Cannon. Hopefully he can get this one off clean. That last one didn't look good with that shank. Much better job right here as Porter is going to field this one at about the 35-yard line, and he's off. Up the middle he goes. And the Hurricanes push him out of bounds at about the 20, maybe 22-yard line.
Outstanding field position coming up for the Bobcats, and we'll see if Eric Collier decides to go deep into his roster and give some of his other running backs an opportunity to touch the football. Jamil Richardson could possibly come into the contest, or maybe Kirsten Rogers goes ahead and checks back in and just kind of puts the nail in the coffin and gets some valuable reps.
So official spot's about the 17-yard line where Porter went out of bounds.
Looks like there's going to be a change at quarterback as well.
Yeah, Raheem Quinney coming in to take over with Randall in the backfield. So Eric Collier has pulled the starting quarterback, and the first snap is bobbled, and who's right there on top of him? Franklin New.
Yeah, you see who he has not pulled out of the game, and you have an opportunity. You don't block this young man, he's going to be quick to
Flag
get off
on
the
play.
football.
There's a flag on the play, but Gary Poole has signaled the end of the 3rd quarter. So
Well,
maybe they'll sort that out on the other side.
We've had a couple penalties at the end of quarters here. We had a penalty at the end of the 1st quarter. Now we've had a penalty at the end of the 3rd quarter. But that was the theme of the third quarter. The penalty flags flying. We hope the referees will be able to keep those inside of their pockets. But fourth quarter of 12 minutes of football left to play. We'll see what ultimately happens. As we can see, Coach Collier has definitely gone to his depth chart.
Senior Hedesatulo.
So their flag is down on the field. I guess we'll probably get that call on the other side of the fourth quarter.
Morgan Morris. And Haley Poole. Your sophomores are Samantha Drake.
As Gary Poole has discussed some things with Coach Hain there and comes back over to his officials.
Alexa Hoda. Kinsley Lambert. Madison Place. Jordan Roberts.
Let's take a look at our game of the week brain buster, Corey. I was waiting for that to come up there. I think we got it right here. All right, Corey, here you go. Before last season, it had been 18 years since Theodore was the region champ. Who coached them to their last region title?
Co-captain is Leah Kane.
So think about that one for a second. The game of the week brain buster
Addie Hartley.
answer be coming up
Let's give it up
just around the corner inside the fourth
Alma
quarter.
Bryant cheerleaders and Island of Fighting Ibis.
Yeah, that's a great question because you'd have to be a Theodore football purist to know who
Corey,
had
you
a
know
nice
a lot now.
tenure.
You're a football purist yourself.
Yeah, I do like a little high school football, but 18 years ago, you're looking back at the success.
So think about that. Think
Theodore
about that.
had. That's a great question. Now I like that brain buster.
They've had some successful coaches there. Firehouse Subs, got to thank them for what they did for us tonight. Enjoy more subs yourself and save more lives. A portion of subs purchased will go to the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation that provides life-saving equipment to first responders. And thanks to Jim and Susie Sherman at the Greenlock Road location for taking care of us. Also, future ones, we have on the bright royal purple polos tonight, so you can get yours and take care of your team apparel and equipment from baseball to wrestling and all the sports in between. Make sure you wear the future and wear Future One.
Well, here's the story of that. 13 penalties for 110 yards by the Hurricanes.
Wow.
12 penalties for 105 yards for the Bobcats. They were able to get 49 rushing yards out of it. Absolute zeros across the board. No passing, no rushing for the Bryant Hurricanes in the third quarter.
The heat is on Quinney. He's trying to escape, and he does. Corey, up the middle he goes, and he has scored a touchdown. Touchdown for Raheem Quinney.
No
23 yards, no flags on the play. Wow.
He did it the hard way, Al.
Oh, he did.
It was off of a busted play, but he pulled a little Houdini. Now you see me, now you don't. He works the magic for the Theodore Bobcats as he has the magic beam. You see him reverse field. The ball is out wide. He breaks a couple of tackles, decides to cut it upfield, and 23 yards later, maybe probably 30 yards later, the way he ran east and west first, the Bobcats are able to put 6 more on the board, but that's a benefit of your depth factor.
The PAT is up, and Theodore has extended their lead 35-3 over Bryant. We're going to be back with more action. It's the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.
Want to find out which Mobile County High School is right for you? Join us on Tuesday, September 24th from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. at the USA Mitchell Center for our Signature Academy Showcase. The event is open to all 7th and 8th graders and parents. Representatives from all 12 high schools will be on hand to talk about our academies. Whether it's aviation, engineering, or healthcare, there's hundreds of career options to choose from. So join us on Tuesday, September 24th for our Signature Academy Showcase. At Mobile County Public Schools, we are learning today, leading tomorrow.
Welcome back to the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week. Al Wheaton, Corley Mounty, Kimberly Dunn inside the eye for the Battle of South Mobile County. And Theodore is putting it on Bryant tonight, 35-3. Capping off that 23-yard run by Raheem Quinney. And Corey, I agree with you. He probably ran 30 or 35 yards to get that touchdown.
Yeah, it's a situation to where I love the ability and the elusiveness of the young fella, Raheem Quinney. One thing I know he needs to do is keep that football a little bit closer to his body.
Right.
But nonetheless, it's a highlight reel type material as it puts 6 more on the board. And Theodore is having an opportunity to try to get deep into their depth, into the roster, as surprise, surprise, another penalty flag comes out.
Logan Murphy up to the 40-yard line, and you're right. Here comes the flags.
I mentioned it to you, both teams being flagged for over 100 yards. I don't think I've seen that in over 20 years of high school football, to where you had both teams,
not one team, but both teams,
for over 100 yards in penalties. I've seen one team be penalized for 150 yards before, but never for 100 apiece. And that's just not the type of crispness that I know either coach is going to be happy about when they start looking at film tonight and early Saturday.
Well, Corey, I'm not on Twitter. I know you are, but I don't want you to do like Tom Brady and take to Twitter, as he complained about the officiating last night in that Tennessee-Jacksonville ball game.
It's just a situation to where these guys have to clean it up. You know, you have to play within the rules of the game, and because of it, it's gotten pretty sloppy. But if we have a steady dose, a scoop and score situation now, the Bobcats, I mean, and the ball's out again for a second time, so we'll have 2 turnovers in one situation there. And let's see where they're eventually going to
Damian
off the football.
Mooney picked up the ball from Seth Johnson, but I don't know if they're going to say if Mooney coughed it up or coughed it back up. So let's see. There's the ball there.
Yeah, it's definitely
popped out.
ripped out. Definitely ripped out.
And there's Mooney on the run.
To where he does a great job.
I believe he is down by contact there, Corey. So
Damian Mooney, the 6 foot, 185-pound sophomore. But you saw that in the first half, you saw them trying to do what Nick Saban calls the can opener move.
Gotcha.
To where you're trying to rip and open that ball, rip that ball away from the offensive runner and the ball carrier, and that's exactly what they're able to do. And now you look at knocking at the door of the red zone area, the Theodore Bobcats with fresh bodies in the game.
Quinney back in at the quarterback position.
Tristan Lee with the tackle.
Damian Mooney picking up that fumble, setting up Theodore inside the red zone as they're trying to score again and extend their lead, something I'm sure Bryant doesn't want. With a loss to Foley last week, Bryant tied their longest losing streak at 16 games. A loss tonight would set a new team record at 17. Quinney on the keeper, and he pushes that one into the end zone. That is a touchdown.
10 yards.
10-yard touchdown for the Bobcats. Raheem Quinney has come in and scored twice already, Corey.
Fresh bodies. Again, you look at that tired defensive line of the Hurricanes. Quinney with the direct snap runs away from the star defensive end, Franklin New, and because of it gets great blocking from his wide receivers downfield, and 6 more on the board for the Bobcats.
So that's 2 touchdowns off turnovers, 1 on an interception and 1 on a fumble. The PAT is good as Theodore extends their lead 42-3 over Bryant. All right, Corey, we put the question out there, so let's put it up again. The game of the week brainbuster. Before last season, it had been 18 years since Theodore was the region champ. Can you name who coached them to their last region title?
I don't know, Al. I mean, you really stumped me on this.
What?
Brother.
Not the football purist.
I don't know. I'm not sure, Al.
Joe Downey in 2000. And by the way, Corey, I thought that was the giveaway. He's Theodore's all-time wins leader with 100. I thought you would have known that.
No, the legendary Joe Downey.
Right, that's
again,
what
he goes on and he coaches at Cottage Hill.
I served one up for you, Corey. Come on.
And, Coach Downey did an outstanding job with the tradition of Theodore football, and that's a situation to where, I did know the answer. I didn't want to go ahead and get the correct answer 2 weeks in a row.
Oh, no. I wanted you to do it, Corey, but I kind of served you one going up there. I want you to knock it out.
It was a situation where I know last year you and I talked about when they became region champions, how long it had been since they waited
that was huge.
to become region champions, and now being the defending 7A Region 1 champions. I know Joe Downey's sitting back in his recliner watching this game tonight, very excited that we brought him into the broadcast last year, and we brought his name again into the broadcast tonight, and he'll never be irrelevant to Theodore football purists.
Ferris on to kick here. As I believe, Corey, we'll probably have to go deep into our C2C rosters. I think Coach Collier is going to put in a lot of the second and third stringers here, let them get some valuable reps, because next week Theodore is on a bye, and then it really gets rough for the Bobcats. They have Murphy, McGill, Tulin, then Davidson, then they're at MGM. So let's look at the remaining schedule for the Bobcats. So as he told me before the game, this bye comes at just the right time. But look at that gauntlet they have to go through on the second half of the season right there.
And that Murphy game
is going to
be at Ladd Stadium.
That's right.
So it won't be on the home field of the Theodore Bobcats. Your turnaround doesn't get any easier going to
go lift
and playing at McGill, and then you're right back at Ladd Stadium again playing Davidson. So for a couple of weeks, they'll be calling Ladd Stadium their own friendly confines of the visitor locker room.
Yeah, quite a gauntlet the Bobcats going to have to go through as Johnson picks up a couple yards there. Flip it over and take a look at the Bryant schedule. Now next week they're going to host Eufaula, and then they're going to be at Blunt, and then they'll have Baker, McGill, Fairhope, and Murphy. So not a good back end, if you want to say, for the Hurricanes as well. But when you play in a 9-team region, and Corey, you only get one off week and another week to schedule someone out of region, kind of like, Blunt and Eufaula, it is what it is at that point.
Yeah, I commend Doug Hain for scheduling a team like Blunt and Eufaula on his schedule.
Two tough teams,
non-region schedule, to make his team a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit faster, playing against that competition, because we mentioned they only have 11 seniors here at Bryant, and because of it, it's going to allow this team to grow, to see where they need to be. Again, Doug Hain, a tremendous leader of these young men, and I commend him for the work he's doing, not only in the school but in the community as well.
Right.
As it's tough. Last year they go 0-10. This year they haven't won a game, but it does not stop him and his staff from working extremely hard, and again, building up and encouraging these young men to become better people, better future husbands, and better future leaders of the community.
By Ewing on the run right there, and some flags coming in late. And doing that carry here, so we'll get this one sorted out.
Coach Hain, former head coach at Hattiesburg High School, coming over. And again, just doing a great job, just trying to build the culture of this Hurricane program with the support of the community. One of the things I love about Bryant is the support of the community that they give as well here in Irvington.
So an unsportsmanlike penalty, someone's been thrown out of the game for the Hurricanes. Let's check in with Kimberly Dunn down on the sidelines.
Unfortunately, we have had a lot of penalties this game, but something that we have been fortunate not to have is any injuries. And neither one of these coaches wanted any injuries tonight, because they said that they already had 3 starters at least on each team that were unable to play tonight, and they're hoping that they'll be able to rest up and come back next week. But we also had one of the coaches over here on the Bryant side who had to be taken to the ambulance to get checked out, because he is just over here cheering his team on and getting overheated, just trying to encourage these guys to play hard. So hopefully he will be feeling much better very soon.
Thank you, Kimberly. We appreciate that, Corey. We couldn't get a number on the player tossed out, but that was apparently the second unsportsmanlike penalty. There he is, I believe, right there, walking out. His second unsportsmanlike, and it's right in front of you right here.
Sean Sweeney is going to get an early
looks like a hit, but came in late right there. So that young man thrown out of the ball game, unfortunately, there for the Bryant Hurricanes. So it'll be second down and extremely long, and a fumble ball on the carpet. Fumble. Did Theodore get on top of it? There's a scrum going on at the bottom. And it is another turnover. Looks like maybe number 97 for Theodore picked it up. One of the big guys on the defensive line. As I said, got to go into But deep chart here, Corey.
David Cunningham.
David Cunningham picks it up. Johnny on the spot. Another turnover here in the fourth quarter.
Well, what you're having and seeing is an opportunity to where we had no turnovers at halftime. Now we have 3 that's being incurred by the Hurricanes, 1 interception and a couple fumbles, but that just comes with fatigue as this game has gone along. And now Theodore hopefully will keep this ball on the ground, won't turn it over themselves. You can't ask Coach Carey and them not to keep scoring. They're going to continue to run the football as their backup quarterback has already scored 2 touchdowns. Raheem Quinney is just continuing to pad his stats, getting positive yardage on first down, even though it's just a yard. But, Al, what I would be pleased and happy with is if we could play this last 8:35 without another yellow flag
I agree.
coming out, whether it's holding, personal foul. We've seen pretty much all the varieties of penalties being called by Gary Poole and his staff.
About 8 minutes left here in the ball game. Queenie hands that one off to one of the upbacks there for the Bobcats. And Corey, let's talk about it. I know we have 8 minutes left. Typically, we don't start discussing the player of the game, but with this game pretty much kind of out of hand and control, 42-3 by Theodore, who do you think you have some candidates tonight for your player of the game?
I think Kirsten Rogers has had a very decent game for the Theodore Bobcats.
2 touchdowns tonight, yeah.
You look at also Jamarius Brown and DeChristian Porter also having strong offensive performances for the Theodore Bobcats.
It's a night. Jamarius Brown has 2 touchdowns as well, as does Raheem Quinney, and as does Kirsten Rogers.
So the balance.
Definitely a balanced attack by the Bobcats. They spread it around a lot tonight.
And I just look at those touchdowns that were scored early in the game, and I think Jamarius Brown would probably be my leader at this point in time because he's a wide receiver throwing touchdown passes, or throwing a touchdown pass, rather.
Well, receiving those touchdown passes. DeChristian Porter threw him the first one on the lateral, and Gavin Moore threw the second one. And Quinney is not sacked, but he is pretty much deterred and taken a big loss. But there's a Hurricane player down in agony down at about the 25-yard line. I think one of his teammates is helping him up, holding his wrist right there, but he doesn't want to come out. He wants to stay in.
With the tackle, turn it over on downs.
But that was 4th down, so he'll get to come off. But he's holding that wrist, Corey. It looks like
Huddleston.
Yeah, Huddleston for them. Huddleston also is a special teams player. He's the kicker and does PATs and field goals for them, but he's holding that wrist.
Turnover on downs now. You see the Hurricanes come out, and we're still going to have our under 6 heat timeout as we've been observing. 6:47 remaining here in the fourth quarter.
And I don't recall us exactly having one in the third quarter. It kind of came with a change of possession, and I don't think referee Gary Poole actually stopped it. Little quick handoff to Johnson, up the middle he goes. So let's think about that player of the game. We'll revisit it in a couple minutes there, Corey. But a couple candidates, but I agree with you. In the clubhouse, I would say Jamarius Brown, but I would have said if Quinney could have put one in the end zone right there, he would have come in the second half and scored 3 touchdowns. I probably would have started leaning toward him.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely been successful running the football, and it's amazing what one score and one confident run, because, again, he made 3 Bryant defenders miss to score that first rushing touchdown.
And he's playing against first-teamers. So Bryant hasn't switched their defense. He was playing against first-teamers.
And Bryant content to run the football here as we go under 6 minutes here in the fourth quarter of play.
And there is the heat timeout right there. So Gary Poole is going to observe it here in the fourth quarter, as you can see on the screen right there. 5:40 remaining here in the ball game. Definitely a balanced attack by Theodore, with scoring being spread across receivers and running backs. Let's take a look at next week's ball game, and I think, Corey, we're going back to Viking land. Kind of one of those weeks where you have that out-of-region play in the middle of the schedule. So it'll be a 7A, 5A contest at Citronelle versus Mayor Montgomery. Citronelle playing Faith Academy tonight in the big 5A Region 1 contest over at Faith Academy, and MGM playing McGill-Tulane tonight. So join us in Viking Land next Friday night with Citronelle versus MGM.
Yeah, it's a situation to where I do believe MGM will be coming off of a loss to McGill-Tulane. Citronelle was trailing Faith Academy.
They were.
Possibly taking their first loss as well, so it will be two teams looking to bounce back next week.
Quick shot at the visiting Theodore Bobcats band, and boy, they brought a good contingent with them tonight. 3rd and long here for the Hurricanes as they toss it out to DJ Betts, and that ball is incomplete. Could have been picked off by one of the Bobcats. No one could get to it. It'll be 4th down and a punting situation for the Hurricanes as Sheldon Cannon comes back again. He has taken over the punting duties tonight from Cam Baratek.
Some finals rolling in. Faith Academy did defeat Citronelle 23-0. Blunt defeats Baldwin County 31-7. Saraland defeats Robertsdale 56-7. Spanish Fort blanks BC Rain 45-0. St. Paul's leading Gulf Shores 51-13, and Mobile Christian leading Thomasville 42-9. Viger trailing Jackson 18-0.
And that punt by Cannon goes straight up and comes back down. One of his teammates catches it on the sidelines, and they're going to say that it went out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. So 5:32 remaining here in the ball game, and Theodore coming back out with their offense, and I believe it will be led by sophomore backup quarterback Raheem Quinney. And there is Quinney coming onto the field.
Fairhope leading Davidson 14-3. And UMS Wright has blanked Clark County 24-0.
Brandon Jones setting up in the pistol formation behind Quinney, takes the handoff, and Jones is brought down. Maybe forward progress might give him a yard. Brandon Jones, 5'11", 176, sophomore. And Theodore pretty much content, Corey, just keep this one on the ground and kind of run some clock and chew it up here.
Yeah, that's exactly what I expected, 42-3. You mentioned how we would have to go deep in our C2C roster to give some of these young men shout-outs who normally don't get those starting varsity reps.
Right.
But again, it's invaluable playing time that is being received by the guys who are now out there trying to make their name here as part of our MCPSS TV
play action,
broadcast.
And Quinney gets that one complete out to the receiver, Alex Gildersleeve. Nice play action roll out there for Quinney. I didn't even know Quinney was left-handed, Corey. That was his first pass.
Yeah, it's a situation to where he had time to throw the football. And I'm
Nice.
a little bit surprised that Theodore is throwing the football. But again, 42-3, you have to get those reps. A nice fake by Quinney as he rolls out and throws a nice ball into the flat, and Theodore is able to capitalize on it and move the chains.
Looking over to the sideline, getting that call from offensive coordinator Justin Ridgway. Jones still lined up in the backfield with Quinney. Play clock approaching 10 seconds. They hand it off to Jones, and the line is pushing, trying to get some credit here for forward progress, but I believe that'll be no gain. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Again, you're starting to see a lot of young men. I see Alex Gildersleeve, the 5'10", 170-pound senior running back on the field again, trying to contribute and get his name in the stat sheet for the Theodore Bobcats.
Right. 2nd and 10 here for the Bobcats. Still again in that pistol formation. 3 receivers to the bottom. They hand it off to Jones. He gets maybe 1. It'll take the Bobcats to 3rd down. All right, Corey, let's kind of put a bow on it. Who do you say, what would you say about your player of the game for tonight?
Tackle 11, number 98.
I still think, Al, when you look at it, Jamarius Brown was a tremendous difference maker for the Theodore Bobcats
I'm with you there.
tonight.
I'm with you there. He was on special teams as well and contributed a lot. So I think Jamarius Brown would be an awesome candidate and a winner for our player of the game tonight. I'm with you there. Another pass here by Quinney. And that incomplete. Could not connect with the receiver. And that'll push it to 4th down for the Bobcats as they're at the 20-yard line. Corey, I think they were listening to you in the truck. I think they agree with your recommendation. I'm with you there. Career Tech Education Player of the Game, Jamarius Brown, 2 touchdowns tonight. And most importantly, the first play of the ball game for the Bobcats tonight, he caught a 34-yard pass from DeChristian Porter.
Jamarius Brown only had 2 receptions for 14 yards coming into tonight's contest, but he made his presence felt very early for the Theodore Bobcats. And I say very early, actually it was very late in the first quarter as the Hurricanes were able to hold, and I do believe I saw another penalty flag.
Yes, you did, sir. Quinny on the keeper.
Play.
Yeah, Quinny on the keeper right there, but a flag did come out.
Kevin Rogers with a tackle.
Possibly a penalty against Landry Huddleston there. We saw him holding his wrist earlier after the punt. I'm sorry, it wasn't a punt. It was a 4th down play not completed by Theodore. Gary Poole going to give us the call here. So not against Bryant, but against Theodore, and they have declined. That was 4th down. So it'll be ball over on downs.
Down be 1st down and 10 for the Hurricanes.
For the Hurricanes. With 2:30 remaining in the contest here, game clearly in control as Theodore looks like they're going to improve and move on to 5-0. What a way to start your first 5 games of the season, Corey.
And you couldn't ask for a better second half than what you've seen here from the Theodore Bobcats, with the exception of all the penalties, because once it's all said and done, you had a very fast and swift first quarter being played as Bryant had the ball for 9 minutes, and then all of a sudden here in the third quarter, that quarter took close to 50 minutes to complete, and the fourth quarter has not gone by quickly either because of all the penalty flags that have been thrown.
I think our statistician, China Powell, had to pull out her abacus tonight, Corey, with all those penalties. You may have to give her a couple extra firehouse subs next week, man.
Yeah, without question.
She had to pull out a pen and a pencil and an eraser and an abacus tonight.
It's been very busy for China Powell from a penalty yardage standpoint. Again, at the end of the third quarter, both teams have been flagged for over 100 yards.
I can only imagine what our end of the game stats are going to look like for penalty yardage tonight. Less than 2 minutes remaining here in the contest.
Fumble.
And you are correct, Corey LeBounty. That ball did hit the carpet. And that would be, according to my records, the 4th turnover of the night for the Bryant Hurricanes.
And what's big, Al, is
all in the second half.
Yeah, no turnovers at halftime by either team. And now here it is. I do believe fatigue has become definitely a factor. We talked about the depth being a factor. And, again, Coach Hayne, you know he's not going to be happy with the turnover aspect of it, but he's going to be happy with the grit of his team. And
shot there, Jamarius Brown, our Career Tech Education Player of the Game. So hopefully Kimberly Dunn will get a chance to speak with him after the ball game and with winning head coach Eric Collier. Coach Hayne even talked about that with his comment. We've had no turnovers in the first half, but Corey, the second half, a total of 4. 3 fumbles and 1 interception.
Gabrielle Morgan, now the third-string quarterback in the game for the Theodore Bobcats, the 5'11", 215-pound junior on the carry. And guess what, Al? No flag on the play.
No flag on the play, Corey. No flag on the play as we approach 1 minute remaining here in the ball game. And I believe Theodore will probably just be taking a knee here. As Morgan does take the knee right there. Possibly one more play may have to snap before we can wrap this one up. About a 3-second differential between the play clock and the game clock here. So one more knee by Morgan, and that'll wrap it up for us tonight, Corey.
Yeah, I mean, you look at being banged up. Kimberly Dunn mentioned what Coach Collier spoke about. Jamil Richardson came in with an ankle sprain. Tavares Davis had a broken ankle, out for the season. Kirsten Rogers was banged up. TJ Richardson was also injured. You had Keena Stevens out for the year with a knee injury. So the biggest thing for the Bobcats was to come out of this game healthy, being able to kind of recuperate yourself going in to the bye week, having an opportunity to rest, treat yourselves, and then finish up the stretch here as we are already through 5 weeks of high school football.
I can't believe it, but we sure have. And Coach Eric Collier hit it right on the head before the game when we talked. He said this bye couldn't come at a better time for me, Al, because I can take a break. And as you talked about, the few who are injured maybe can heal up, but no injuries tonight. Even Kimberly Dunn talked about that. I can't recall too many guys coming off the field hurt tonight. Yeah,
a situation to where conditioning was a factor here late in the contest. And Theodore just needed to create takeaways. They were able to do that in the second half, having 4+ takeaways. They had to maintain success and momentum, were able to do that, leading 14-3 at halftime. They also need to establish the run, only having close to 30 yards of running yards in the first half, were able to open that up. I think the thing that Coach Collier wants to focus on the most is cleaning up the penalty situation and just continuing to focus on his team becoming better, a better program themselves. Focus on Theodore. Don't have to worry about what the rest of the region is doing. Just focus on themselves, getting better week to week. Adversely, Coach Hain, he's got to be pleased with the gritty effort of the first half that his team displayed. Weren't able to get the second half momentum going, but controlled the clock in the first half, showing that the program is definitely going in the right direction under his leadership.
All right, let's take it down to the field with Kimberly Dunn.
I'm here with Coach Collier and our Career Tech Education Player of the Game, Jamarius Brown, number 7. Congratulations on the win tonight. So let's start with you. What kind of mindset did you have to stay in to help your team secure this victory tonight?
I just wanted to help my team win, and I knew we were going to stay together. I knew we was all going to come out here and play, and I just wanted to get the head right, and we won the game.
Yeah, you talked about, Coach, before the game and even during halftime that y'all wanted to be play together as a team. How do you think that they executed that tonight?
I don't think we did the first half. I think we did the second half. We had a little mental adjustment at halftime, and after that, I think we played pretty good. Overall, I thought it was a sloppy game, just a sloppy game overall. I mean, we had a lot of penalties, but at the end of the day, I'm glad to get the win. Coach does a good job down there with them. They continue to play hard. We're just glad to get out there with a win.
Yeah. So what does this win mean to you and your team?
It's a big rival game, and we all in here together. And a win is a win. We just got to come out next week and play again.
Yeah, what about you, Coach?
Well, our first goal was to grow together as a family. The second one was to win every region game. This is a region game. So that means a lot. That's part of one of our goals that we're trying to accomplish. So we're working toward it.
Well, congratulations on that win. I'll let y'all go celebrate with your team.
Thank you, guys. Thanks for what you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. Take a look at some of those game time stats. Wrap up the 4-quarter stat score.
98 rushing yards for Theodore, 158 passing yards, 256 total, 0 turnovers. That's huge. 12 penalties for 105 yards. You look at the Hurricanes, they only had 11 total fourth-quarter yards of offense, 174 total yards, 4 turnovers, 15 penalties for 135 yards. Final score 42-3 in favor of the Theodore Bobcats.
All right, Theodore gets the win for the Battle of South Mobile County. Now next week, as I said, we're going back to Viking land. It'll be Citronelle versus MGM, so make sure you join us at 6:50, 10 minutes early for all the action. But the win tonight goes to the Bobcats, 42-3, as they are the champions of South Mobile County. Have yourself a great night for Corley Bounty and Kimberly Dunn on the sidelines. I'm Al Wheaton. Thank you for joining us for the MCPSS High School Football Game of the Week.